the first pick.
Get three, Pyro, get three with the
Void Kid putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, Overwatch fans, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, children of all ages. Welcome to the final night of Overwatch Tranquility Season 7. Honestly, I'm a little beside myself, NPC. I blink at the beginning of this season, and we're already at the end.
Yeah, for me, it felt like a long road. Like maybe halfway through, right into the beginning of stage 2, I was like, man, is this season over yet? Come on. And then the last half goes by and I'm like, we just got started. So, it's kind of been that way for all of us. But, for me, I mean, the road's been going on since season 2. Like I came in kind of at the end of season 1, and didn't join a team until season 2, but I've been here a long time, and this has been a very good season. Like all season long, the preseason was good, very smooth. The teams were great all season long. Every single team and every single player that participated, you guys are the real MVPs. But we're actually going to see some real MVPs in this game tonight. This is the All-Stars match. Theoretically, supposed to be the cream of the crop, the best of those tiers. But it turns out to be just a little bit more fun than actual Overwatch, because I haven't actually played any Overwatch in weeks. Like, Halo came out, and I was like, bye!
I've been a little all over the place myself. A little Overwatch, a little Destiny, a little Halo. Definitely prepping for that, because I know that opportunities are getting ready to come up for tournaments and whatnot in the near future. But needless to say, I'm always excited about watching the All-Stars matches. For those of you that haven't been following the last couple of days, this is kind of how it breaks down. First two matches are the official competitive matches, where teams will be on their roles playing to the best of their abilities, or at least trying to, with the teams that they have been slotted up against. And then the matches after that really don't matter. We go to Goats Row for map 3. Everybody gets to pull out goats, and based on what I'm getting information for the code we're using, it kind of retroactive some of the recent changes to some of the heroes and goats, makes it a more traditional goats feel. So it should be interesting to see that. Then we'll be heading to Eichenwald, which is going to be a no limits round, which is always a good time to see.
It's devolved into goats by the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Basically, once you get inside that castle and one team is really starting to lose, they switch over to goats and they come out to defend on goats. It's happened every night so far.
Oh man, see, I'm used to always seeing the 6 Torbs.
They start with that. They start with six Doomfists or something. They start with that, and that's kind of fun.
And then
but typically the attacking team just kind of snowballs that one, because the attacking spawn is has the advantage. And then once they get to that bridge phase, once they cross that, they're like, no, we're going goats.
Well, we'll see if that holds true this evening. And then, of course, for our last map, we'll be heading to Lijiang Tower, which is our roll on there, where the Gardens is all DPS, Control Center is all tanks, and Night Market is all support for those particular maps. So I hope you're buckled in for some fun. And if you're just tuning in tonight, I just want you to know we've been doing this for 3 months, all right? You're turning in tonight. we're glad to have you. So be
Yeah.
sure to hit that heart, punch that bell, subscribe if you can. And we're getting ready to head into our first map, which is Rialto. And that means we're going to have our first interviewee coming in, NPC.
Yep. I think we're gonna have Asdo joining us while we're getting into this map, and we're gonna talk a little bit about get his thoughts on the season and his teammates, and we're gonna ask all the important questions, the really critical questions.
Yeah, like why is Capital so bad? That's typically the big question that, especially for any folks coming from the Nostalgia Org, the biggest question. Welcome, Asdo. You came in just in time.
Perfect.
First question on the docket: why is Capital bad?
Why is Capital bad? You see,
Yeah.
As a player, I haven't seen him play, but I did walk directly into their backline in a friendly between Remen and Amnesia, and just froze them. Easy. That's like, come on, Cap. That's one thing. But then you got to
That's
show
rough.
scrims, Cap. It's the other one.
It's true.
It's easy.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, Asdo, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that haven't been following, Asdo played this season on our Champions Reminiscence. For the
Congratulations,
Discord tier.
Asdo, for
Thank you.
being a champion.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, it's
Congrats. How does that feel, by the way? I mean, last season, Reminiscence pretty much took it to the wire, and we've kind of seen this battle both in Harmony and Discord tier, essentially between Nostalgia and Marsupial Gaming versus like Koala Kings and Quacket Queens, otherwise known as Joseph Electronics Esports from last season. How did that feel, kind of making your way back up there and then being able to take home the gold this time?
It felt amazing, frankly. I kind of left Marsupial not for any negative reason, still a lot of respect for them, but I kind of figured like, let's see what else is out there, kind of what's going on. Got on the Caps team, and then kind of made it the goal of like, all right, like, am I actually an okay player? Can I play up to the same level on other teams or not? And I mean, that's for some people to decide. It was a pretty sketchy grand finals for me, but I mean, it was still a win. Team kind of carried me, so it was nice to be able to do both with two really good groups of people.
Yeah, you definitely proved yourself, I think, this season.
That's good. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, this is a team game. I know that some people get really hard on themselves, like if they're not, popping off to the top level. But, you were a piece of the puzzle that got your team to those playoffs. And if you didn't play your greatest that night, well, the rest of the team was there to pick it right on up. So let's take a quick look real quick. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of casting. If you've been watching the last couple of nights, probably intermittent here or there. But let's look at the teams that we got coming in for the blue side. We have Culture, your teammate Blood Hungry, Matson, Greninja, and Rook. And for the red team, we have Seraph, Pegapants, Beppo, Triage, Glitch, and Smarty.
So Asdo, when you look back at the
boy.
season that we've just had, oh my goch, the flank. This
Here's
is the best of their ability here.
This is the way to start things off. Oh, perfect spin coming in. The boop tried to come in from Glitch to dissuade the Reinhardt charge there, but Blood Hungry indeed living up to their name, got that first pin pick, and that's going to be a hold of the objective.
So Asdo, when you think about the season, is there a team that you really like? Is there a team that you really enjoyed playing against? I mean, other than obviously your former teammates, is there a team that like you prepped for really hard and you really had a good time in that match? It was a real good challenge for you.
Honestly, in general, and I think it's a pretty standard consensus from some people I've talked to. It's always fun playing against Paradise Lost, like because of their really wacky style and the fact that they're also pretty good at it. Makes it a lot of fun to play against. It's not the same, run brawl v brawl. I walk forward, hold left click, put a wall down, and then we either win or lose and go again. So getting to try different things, kind of think about the game differently while actually playing for something on the line. Like, they're a really fun team to play against, and they also have a lot of talent there.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Seeing Paradise Lost and the way they played this season, NPC, you might remember, reminds me a lot of Requiem, who I got to see kind of make their comeback recently in the Toronto Defiant event that just happened. So it's always good when the meta is there for a reason, quote unquote. You know, that's the most reliable composition. But man, when you get some teams that go on these wacky compositions and they know what they're doing, it really changes how the game is played.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching that because, you know, Overwatch has been starved for content for quite some time, and I like seeing, you know, players trying something new with an established game. So you're not just, like you said, you're just not Brawl v Brawl, you're not just trying to brawl out the objective, it's just, oh, here we are, double shield, yawn, you know, you're actually doing something creative, and when somebody's playing against you that's doing something creative, you're like, wait a minute, I actually have to play the game now. This is different, and I could see how that would be kind of fun. So is there anybody on your team as a whole that maybe was kind of inspirational to you, or somebody who is you know, a really great in-game leader, somebody that you really look up to on your team?
I don't think there's a specific individual. I think in general we were very lucky to have a team that kind of got along right away. I mean, if you're looking at what Blood's doing right now, he's definitely the most inspirational player I've ever seen. Oh, they found him. Okay, well.
Unfortunate.
Blood's antics are always inspirational. Ton of fun to watch. So.
Yeah.
I have to say, the creativity with plays like that as well, I always think is really important in a game like Overwatch, because you kind of have just like you have the meta, you have kind of that expected stance and how teams play and how the game is supposed to be played. But then you get people like Blood Hungry who tackle you out of oblivion because you have no idea where they came from, but you know they're not in the front line. So whether or not you're paying close enough attention really makes the difference. Now, when you look back on Season 7, and as you said, you played in previous seasons of Tranquility, what do you feel really made the difference for you this time around, other than the victory?
What made the difference? Not too sure. It was a pretty similar experience gameplay wise. I don't think I was necessarily any better or worse than last season. I mean, I probably improved a bit, but in general I found it was pretty similar. I think it's just always different. Because I've been playing with a lot of the Marsupial teams for like 3 years now. So this is my
goodness.
Yeah, I know, a terrible time. But no, it was the first team in a long time that I played with where it wasn't just a bunch of my friends. So I think that actually did make a difference, because initially it's not, you know, we're just kind of having fun.
Beppo dip right there.
Unbelievable. But yeah, in general, I think it's nice going into a different environment with a different mindset of more trying to get to know players, get used to them, and I think overall that helped us in the long run, just kind of not knowing each other ahead of time, but all having really very meshed together personalities in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's something that really kind of adds to the flavor of Overwatch, right? And we see that at pretty much all levels of play, whether it be tier 4 or even when you see the climb up players up to contenders or even OWL. Like, they may play on one team where, you know, they're friends with a lot of the players and they're looking to have a good time and whatnot, but then they swap teams and, you know, they're able to focus a little bit more on the game. Not saying that they're not having fun or they're not, you know, enjoying the people they're playing with, but it becomes more strategic. There's a lot more investment from the players than if you're just kind of playing with friends like it's a regular Wednesday night.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, that being said, are you coming back for Season 8? You gonna be with us?
With Tranquility, for sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be in Trance as DPS, back in Discord as a support, or whether I'm going to be just taking some time to coach or something. Not too sure what my plan is, but I'll definitely be back.
Okay, well, we're glad to have you. Speaking of season 8, apparently the buzz on Twitter was a lot of content creators got involved in a call with Blizzard, and they're all under NDA. Nobody's talking about it, but everybody says they're very pleased with what they heard on that call, and it gave me a little bit of renewed hope for Overwatch and Overwatch 2 going into next year. Well, what kinds of things do you see happening? Give us your bold prediction. What do you think that they said on that call?
Ooh, on that call. All right. I think one of the things they probably touched on was a bit of the finished, polished PvE stuff going on. We haven't heard about it in a long time. It's been like since that one 2019 BlizzCon that we saw the one, saw that one little snippet of what it was going to look like. So I think there was probably some stuff on that, and then I'm willing to bet that there were a lot more hero updates that were talked about.
Yeah, I can only imagine. We've only heard about kind of a handful of heroes at this point, so really seeing if there are any major adjustments. Obviously, we know the tank line is getting full rework due to the new way that things are being put together. But honestly, that's one of the parts that I'm really looking forward to. I seem to have a lot more fun in the PvE events for Overwatch, in the various ones that we've seen during Archives and Halloween, just because it brings like a new flavor to the game. Like, it's just bots, and it's but it still involves like a different type of strategy, a different type of teamwork that really kind of brings a renewed fun to the game. So seeing that kind of fully fleshed out, plus not only that, it brings a lot more storyline to the game that I know that people are really starved for as well. We just got the recently new comic that came out. I forget what it's called, but I know that a lot of people... Yeah, the Cassidy comic that just came out with Farah and Anna. It's just bringing kind of some of that love back to the game, and people just are glad to see it.
Yeah, I like seeing all the new content. So you think hero balances? I'm personally hoping for they're gonna rescind 5v5. I think they're gonna go 6v6. I really hope so. I'm throwing it out there into the universe. Make it happen.
I mean, I think right now everybody is just kind of questioning that. I mean, you even see it with the picks in Overwatch League right now, right? Where it's kind of a little undecided how teams are going. A lot of teams are choosing players that are a lot more flexible on roles. If you see a lot of the recent pickups with like ISU and whatnot that have ascended into OWL, it really shows that they're trying to make sure that whatever comes out, whether it still just be Overwatch 1, whether it be Overwatch 2, whether it be 5v5, 6v6, like, teams are pretty much preparing for the gambit at this point because they know they have no time. So let me get your opinion on that, Asdo. What are your feelings on the 5v5? I know it's been out for a while, but do you think that that's the right move to take the game? Or do you think that the way things are is best, or is there a different way? Do you think there maybe should be just like one DPS or one support instead?
I think the current setup of 6v6 is a very good way to play the game. I think it's a lot of fun. We're very used to it. But I think I'm one of the few people that was kind of excited to see how 5v5 would play out. Because I think one thing to note with it, and a lot of people were saying when they kind of first looked at it, is it's just a really brawly death match. It's all 1v1s kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way Overwatch was when it first came out as well, when it was 6v6. Like, it was a lot of people just kind of taking duels. You look at some of the comps back in the day, and you see dive comps with the Junkrat, and it's like, what's going on? Yeah. So I think 5v5 we'd see a lot of the same thing where, yeah, it might be pretty hectic to start, and that might be the way the game shapes to begin, but I don't know, I was kind of excited to see where it goes. It would have been a very cool change to see, but I think I'm not disagreeing with it, they're reverting some changes. I think they might be looking back at 66.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question that everybody's asking because it's not even just the game as of itself, you know, and the compositions, but it's everything leading up to that. Like the biggest question on people's minds right now is kind of how that transcends to pro. You know, they were talking about releasing an early version for Overwatch League players to be able to utilize, but then if they wanted to pick up anybody during the season, like how do contenders, for instance, prep for that? And so that makes it really difficult when you're essentially playing two versions of the same game that are nothing like one another. Like when you look at the brass tacks of that. So I agree. I think that there may be some changes to resend. I think that there are some changes that are yet to be made that might make it more fun and make it more team competitive in that nature.
Yeah. So Asdo, was there any teams or maybe even players this season that you either didn't get to play against, or maybe that you didn't play against them in the finals and you were just glad you didn't get to play against them? You were just like, wow, okay, I'm glad somebody else knocked them out because we might have lost.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
There goes Beppo.
Beppo just going flying, like never touched the ground. Goodness.
In terms of players that I didn't really want to play, I know in general the DPS line and the talent from Waka Queens was frankly criminal. Those players are way better than they might get credit for. You look at Matson, you look at Vix, you look at Reborn when he was playing, like insanely talented players. So if I had to play that against them in the finals, that was kind of something I was looking to focus on. In terms of other players, I'm not too sure. I think in general I was pretty confident in my ability against anybody. I know after the first game against Paradise Lost, I kind of knew that going into Culture and Lars was going to be a lot harder the second time if we were to play them, which it definitely was. Those two players are both very good at the heroes that they play, so if I had to pick, I'd say this.
Looking at the match going on right now, it looks like the Aurum team doing a pretty good job here of pushing into Objective Charlie. Have some good time to make that might kind of separate them out, but Indigo NPC doing a really good job of kind of holding this line.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing a pretty good job of making the changes they need to make. I think the silly time is over now that we're here into into third point. We're just like, yeah, you know what? Fun time over. Real game now. Because we had a little bit of that, but I think we're all done now.
That is indeed true, and I'm looking in the chat right now, and Glory Goat. Nobody asked for 5v5. I mean, that is true, but I mean, you gotta understand it kind of from a developer standpoint, right? Like they're looking for ways to make the game fresh, no matter whether it feels that way or not. Overwatch has been around for over 5 years, folks. It's been a long time that we've been playing this game. If you've been playing since the beginning, like I joined the year after that, but still, 4 years is nothing compared to that. So they're just looking for ways to, you know, keep it fresh and keep it fun for people to enjoy. But needless to say, I'm gonna give Asdo the floor here. We did recently get to see that kind of experimental patch go down where they got kind of the top creators for each role to suggest changes. So Asdo, if you had got selected to do that, what hero would you change and what would you make them do?
Ooh, okay. So I will say, one of the changes that went through, I've been wanting for an incredibly long time. Because as a Mei 1-trick, being able to move faster while shooting the ground is awesome.
The Frozone buff?
Yeah, it's so nice. It's you wall up, you try to kill somebody with the block, and then skate away. It's perfect.
Oh, jeez.
Don't know how it would go in actual balance, but it was a lot of fun. So that was one. Some other ones that I think would be a lot of fun is I think Sigma should actually behave like Pharah. and should just be able to float around all free instead of just kind of slowly declining from heights. I think he should be able to just kind of rise right up and play it almost as if he's a Sky character.
Interesting. I mean, we don't really have, like, if you think about the players or the heroes that we have, like DPS are really the only ones that get any value in the Sky. I mean, you have like Winston and D.Va that can jump up there if need be, but having literally a tank that can at any point get into the Sky would that would be one heck of a change, and would really kind of change the way that the game is played for sure. It looks like right now Orem side are unleashing all of their fury in overtime. Unfortunately, due to what?
Yep, they managed to cap. Looks like a good old Charlie Niner, or was it intentional? Do they just want to keep playing?
Well, that's the thing, is that overtime was ticking away for a little bit there. I'm kind of surprised. Well, oh yeah, this is Escort. My bad. I was thinking we were on like Havana or not. No. Havana is also Escort. I don't know what I'm thinking. All right, it's been a long day, but we still got more Overwatch to be played, so that's more questions for Asdo to be asked.
Asdo, have you been watching the All Stars games up until now?
I didn't catch much of the Trance All-Star game, and by much I mean none. And I caught a bit of the Harmony one. I saw Try insta-locking Sombra, and I thought that was kind of weird.
Right. Okay. So then the good news is that if Time Monster were here, he would ask you a question, and I'm about to ask it.
Okay.
Okay. There's a bunch of statues in Overwatch, right?
Yeah.
But only one of these statues actually has eyelashes.
Volskaya.
Okay, good. You know, have you seen Time Monster cast before?
I have not, but that was like the one little like half-hour bit I was watching Harmony. I was watching for that part, and I heard that question, and I was terrified of getting asked something like that.
He asked it like every single guest, every single night, and like nobody knew. And I'm like, he says this every time he casts a game. Every time there's Volskaya picked, he's like, did you guys know that statue of Katya Volskaya has eyelashes?
I'm
like,
glad I could make him.
I mean, you know, some people they look at statues and they're like, oh man, look at those feet, or look at those thighs. No. Time Monster is an eyelashes man. Okay.
Oh goodness gracious. Well,
you see those women with the big old flappy eyelashes. That they're for Time Monster.
Well, speaking of, since we were just recently talking about changes, and since we're talking about Overwatch nuance here, if you paid attention to Beat Drop last season, we used to ask questions like this of everyone for like trivia and whatnot. But another piece of trivia: did you know what Rein's ultimate before it became Earthshatter was proposed to be?
Ooh, I have no idea, honestly. I could only hope it was just some absolutely busted charge mechanic where everything would just explode beside.
I mean, that would be cool, but this might be a little bit cooler for fans of the Marvel series. For those that don't know, in development, Reinhardt originally, instead of Earthshatter, was supposed to throw his hammer like Mjolnir, and it would kind of like boomerang around. So you'd like throw it out, and it hit anyone in its wake, and then come back to you, hitting anyone coming back as well. And I'm sure everyone could see how that was kind of busted. But I mean, could you imagine? I'm waiting for that to be like the PvE buff, where they make that one of the options. Get taken down.
You gotta give Bastion back a shield. Give Bastion a shield. That's all I'm saying. From the beta.
Oh goodness.
So Asdo, when you come back in season 8, you talked a little bit about your potential roles, maybe coaching, maybe doing a little bit of something different, a little off role. Is there a specific thing you kind of want want to focus on? Do you want to be a team that's going to win, or do you want to be another one of those teams going to go back to the whole, like, this is just going to be Wednesdays with the boys? I mean, trying hard, it's fun to win, but it can be kind of sweaty sometimes.
It's for the birds at this point, honestly. I think in general with this next season, I'm kind of looking for a retirement home. I'm getting old, you know. I can't keep up with these young bucks.
The get off my land special. Now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been tiring. I've kind of been on a pretty heavy grind for the past year. It's paid off, but you know, going into next season, I think I'd probably be prioritizing just being able to, you know, play Orisa Zarya and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of why I started to get off my land. It was a bunch of people that didn't want to like scrim ever. We just Wednesdays with the boys, and we all play whatever hero we feel like playing today. And we never won, and we ended up folding because we were just like, you know what, we're not going to do this again. But we did it for 2 seasons, and we had a good time.
Hey, as long as you're having fun,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that is what the game is all about. I love the comments coming out here from Chief in the game chat. These are the best that Discord tier has to offer.
Yes, yes, Discord tier is...
with the teleporter and Bastion coming out. That's the best this tier has to offer.
Yes, our premier tier, the best of the best, Discord tier. We got the Snowball skin already, the Snowman skin.
I know, I saw that earlier today in the other match I casted. And the little, the mines come out as like little like green presents. I thought that was so cute.
Wow. So, we did get a lot of new skins today, and I think all the skins this winter are pretty good. Every time, you know, I get sick of Overwatch, they suck me right back in, you know? What's your favorite new skin, Asdo? What do you think? Which one of these new December skins do you think is the best?
Best skin? I think best skin. I think would have to go to Orisa. I gotta say, the reindeer looks amazing.
Heck yeah.
But shout out to the Tracer one as well. I think it's underrated. I think it looks really nice for just kind of a free skin you get for playing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I like this Tracer skin a lot better than the green one with the weird elf shoes.
Yeah, personally, I know that Artemis, as well as many Symmetra players, are just glad to finally have a Symmetra holiday skin.
a Symmetra holiday skin. It's very clean. It's a clean looking Symmetra skin. I like the holly bushes.
I haven't gotten to see it yet. I casted, but I didn't. I've seen all the skins because I casted a couple of games for EGF before I came here. So I've seen them, but I haven't got to, you know, do the typical, like, you know, you download, you know, the update, and then you go in, and then you go like, what's changed, and you hit the little thing, and then you inspect all the little aspects of it. Like that's what I'm looking forward to after this. So Asdo with Indigo taking the victory there on map 1 in probably the oddest fashion for this matchup. We do have to let you go, so we're gonna give you a chance to any shout outs or anything that you'd like to do before we send you on your way so we can get ready for the next match.
Yeah, I mean, really quick shout out just in general to all production and just Trank staff in general. I think both of these past seasons I've really noticed just kind of another step forward, and in general it's some of the best staffing I think Overwatch has in the amateur scene right now. So big shout out to everyone for putting their best foot forward and just kind of putting on the best show they possibly can. I think it means a lot to a lot of these players, including myself, so I really appreciate all you for that. And then big shout out to the country of Chile in honor of LCS, my Mercy one trick pocket.
Alrighty then. That last
country.
one threw me a little bit, but awesome. And I know that we couldn't do it without all of you as well. So Asdo, we're gonna go ahead, send you on back to the team so we can get our next interviewee in here.
Of course, thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, NPC, 1 down, 4 more to go, and man, that. I didn't do a lot of casting, but I'm actually pretty glad that we didn't, because I wouldn't have known after almost 4 years. That's another thing I can't get my head around. 4 years I've been casting almost. I still don't know how I would have cast it.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. All-Star Games, the first two, we tell people, oh, this is your main roles. This is regular Overwatch. Play to your best of your ability because you're representing your tier. Nobody cares. No, we're going with whatever, and it's all in fun, and as long as they're having fun, we're having fun with them, and I like seeing it. I like seeing the interesting stuff that comes out. We see this weird Symmetra Bastion, and you know, there's a lot of C9ing that goes on these maps to kind of get those into extra rounds. People are like, hey, you know what? I'm only here for a little while. I got to make the most of it. So, you know, Rialto was kind of one of those, one of those maps.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always exciting to see the changes, not only in the teams, as we were discussing with Asdo or Overwatch in general, but just kind of how the community is continuing to grow as we're waiting for the next teams to be set up here as we're getting ready to head into Route 66. I know one of the big changes that's coming out for Tranquility is we're going international, baby. We are bringing around the Harmony tier to the European region. So we're going to be bringing in some teams for next season. If you watched on Monday the podcast to hear about all the changes that went down, I encourage you to do so. I'm sure that I didn't get a chance to see it myself, but I know that MPC probably pepper a couple more of those changes that you should see coming up in Season 8 as well. But I think just the fact that we have gotten to the point that we're expanding internationally, I think just makes a huge difference to the Overwatch scene.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening. I can't wait. And Season 8, it's I don't want to say right around the corner, but at the same time, signups are literally right around the corner. We're going to wrap this up, and I believe the sign-up sheet will be available quite shortly, a couple of days after this broadcast. So we're gonna ping out in the Discord. If you're not in the Tranquility Discord, !Discord in the chat, we'll take you there. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can sign up to get all the news and everything from the alerts. But it's looking good, and I'm excited about the EU. That means that essentially, at least Tuesday nights for a while, with Harmony tier, or maybe a different night, we're not sure. One of those nights a week, we're gonna have a feature match from the EU, which means we're gonna have a feature match at like 2:33 in the afternoon. You know, so when you're sitting at work and you're kind of bored and the day's kind of dragging on, and you're like, oh, this is kind of a grind. I wish I had some esports to watch until the end of the day. Well, now you do. We have that EU esports going on here, so I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much what keeps keeps everything alive. I feel like Tier 4, despite everything that happens at the higher tiers of Overwatch, Tier 4 Overwatch is definitely what keeps the scene alive. It looks like the teams are ready to go, so we need to drag in our next. We should drag in your teammate. Your teammate? I thought he was
not
your
my teammate. It's your teammate.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure that he hasn't heard that joke a million times.
No, it's all.
Don't worry, I make the joke all the time.
I just invented it myself.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. Welcome your teammate from the SEAL Team Spuds to the chat. Glad to have you here. How are you feeling after that first map for your team?
I feel like I haven't played the game in like a week.
Same.
Which is actually better than I expected, because I actually haven't played the game for 2 weeks.
Same.
All right.
So, speaking of playing the game, you guys, the SEAL Team Spuds actually did pretty decent this season. The Starch Org in general is kind of regarded as kind of a mean team because the Fighting Potatoes haven't won very much, but the other two teams seem to be doing fairly well. Do you think that maybe people sleep on your team a little bit too much, or do you think you're just pretty talented?
I definitely don't think people sleep on the Spuds, or at least they shouldn't anymore, because like I believe like maybe when we first debuted, we could have been considered just like, oh, it's just Starch Org, they're not gonna do much, and then like the first season we kind of didn't do much. Second season we did more, and then this season I don't think anyone can like ignore Starchorg anymore.
Right, right. I'm definitely not.
But I definitely think that a large amount of the success comes down to just everyone on the team is just extremely talented, and we have a great coach.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
and I mean, I did get to in the going. I hate to keep bringing it up, but there's so much overlap. The recent Toronto event that I was part of, we actually got to see a little bit of the Tier 3 exposure coming out for the Starchorg. I don't know if you're able to talk to us a little bit about that.
Not really. I've been just kind of focused on like just like Discord tier in my team, so the like the tier 3 stuff kind of passed me by. But I can say that I'm very glad that the people who went chose to go and that they've represented Starchorg very well.
Yeah, apparently the meme high stakes is what the team is named and will be named going forward. You know, a lot of players still want to play with people from Tranquility, and you know we've seen this with several other teams in the past when they've kind of outgrown the limits of the Tranquility SR cap, and you know want to continue playing with those around. You know, you think of places like Pogfish. You know, Alpha was another team that came out during the Toronto event and performed pretty well for punching kind of above their weight class. So it's always interesting to see kind of how people that may have started just to kind of have fun and enjoy the game, you know, when they start, you see kind of that change as they start getting coaching or they start, you know, really kind of getting in the rhythm with the players that they're playing with and the fun that they're having, that it kind of changes into something more. And I think that we're seeing that with a lot of orgs that have been home to Tranquility recently, and kind of their expansion not only in the Tier 4 scene, as you see places like Aerial Felines that have started playing in other Tier 4 tournaments, but also in Starchorg as they move up to the Tier 3 scene.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really nice. I definitely have had that myself, where it's like I initially joined Tranquility as more of just like a, oh hey, this is something fun that might help to pass the time, and now like I guess I got into the competitive spirit a lot.
Yeah.
and
I mean,
and I just kind of stuck around.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how sports works. Anyone that says that esports isn't a sport, I'm sorry to tell you, but it is. It has the same drive, it has the same momentum, and, you know, once it gets its claws in, it's really hard.
It even says sports in the name.
Exactly. How can you not say that it's a sport?
Yeah. So teammate, is there anyone in your that is your teammate that you would like to shout out here? Is there anybody that made a big difference for you this season, whether it was one player in particular or a coach or somebody, maybe even someone from another team that kind of inspired you to be better so you could beat them? Is there anybody in particular that you feel like influenced your play?
Well, I can't really just say any one person in particular on my team, because like something that I've felt a lot is that a lot of teams in Trang kind of have that like that headline player where like if you're looking for someone that's like very clearly their star, or the one who makes almost all the plays, you just think of them like an easy one is like Asdo from Rem, where it's like you know he's going to make a play, you know he's like really good, and you have to plan around that. And Reminiscence obviously has other really great pieces, but they also do a very good job of supporting Asdo as he kind of pops off. So I felt more or less like the Steel Team Spuds didn't really, at least in terms of perception in the Tranquility community, we didn't really have that. It was more just like, we're a team of 6. It's more just like, you don't think of a single player on the Spuds, you think of the team as a whole, and also their coach Polar. I'm not calling you Mag Polar, stop asking.
Yeah, no, I don't know who that is. I know who Bowler is, though.
I don't know that guy. Yeah, that's odd. But yeah, I mean, it's always awesome to see kind of the evolution of not only teams and players, but getting to see how that goes. I see the comment from Mr. Yeti and Solitary Bird in the chat talking about how just if you look at the panel of all stars, not only for Discord, but I'd say for all the tiers this season. You see some familiar names that we've seen kind of from season to season, but a lot of new faces this time around. And I think that really goes to show kind of, yeah, you have those teams that have kind of that carry potential where it's like everybody supports the quarterback football style. And then you have teams that, they're just there to do their best together. And, some players, they might not pop off as well, but since they work as a team, the rest of the team is able to pick up the slack.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, is there a team that you played against this season that maybe you were like really scared to face them? You played them and you like kind of dreaded and prepared more for this one in particular team than anybody else?
Aside from Rem, I think the two that we really wanted to knuckle down for were Mark III and Domination the second, and Domination after they beat us in stage 1, because in stage 1 I will like fully admit we were kind of like riding a bit of that overconfidence, and Domination came in and just showed us like, hey,
you bleed.
Yep.
Yeah, essentially. Like, I mean, considering we had never won 4-0 before that, we still like had our moments of like, yeah, we're kind of like not the best by a long shot, but still, I do admit we had a bit of that overconfidence.
Yeah, I think every team goes through that when they get to that level.
And then Mark III, it was more along the lines of we would scrim them very often, like before the season and during stage 1, and honest, they would just roll us in scrims like all the time. So we were just thinking like, man, going up against Mark III, that's gonna be like really difficult. We better really knuckle down. And then in the playoffs, they showed us.
Yeah. So I've noticed in these All-Star games, Beppo keeps falling off the map, and clearly been watching my gameplay. Is this something that commonly happens on SEAL Team Spuds?
More commonly than you'd think.
Okay. I'm all right, my man. All right.
Well, at least he knows what he's doing following the NPC special. Azto getting melted down there rather quickly on the high ground.
That's a big nade.
That's a nasty nade right there. Coming in onto the Indigo side. Kiddo trying to hold on for dear life against Gap Symmetra. They're going to be able to take the payload back, but that timer ticking down, and that stagger is not going to be helpful to their team.
Yeah, definitely not. So teammate, what are your plans for season 8? Are you sticking around? Do you think you want to take some time off? You want to coach? What do you want to do? You gonna stick with the Spuds?
Full disclosure, I'm gonna stick with the Spuds. Like,
ooh, okay, making it bold choice. Okay, all right, coming right out and saying it.
I mean, like, I don't think it's too much of a secret that I really just like playing with the guys in Starchorg. Like, they've all been really great, and I'm very fond of sticking around between seasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd rather lose with my friends than win with strangers myself as well. So I get that. I get that feeling.
Yeah,
so,
it's also just like inertia is hard to get rid of.
Yeah. You guys have been playing together for a long time, and if you stop now, you won't ever start again. So that's good to know. I'm glad to know that the Spuds will be back, and I'm glad to know that you're going to be back, and just everybody's going to be a big family, because the Potatoes and the Starchorg is just been such a fundamental part, the oldest brand in Tranquility, in fact. And it'd be a shame if you guys weren't coming back. So I'm glad you guys are going to be a part of that. So as Tranquility kind of evolves. You know, obviously there's going to be some changes. Maybe not in Season 8, maybe in Season 9. We don't know. But Overwatch 2 is going to be changing, and Overwatch 2 is coming out. If there's some changes that you could make to Overwatch, maybe a hero you want to rebalance or a map you want to change, what kind of things would you do?
That's a very difficult question. I think through the lens of a support player, as someone that's like been played as Brig for a long time, I honestly think she's still a little on the strong side for just how much she enables. So I don't know what kind of like nerfs or reworks they would do to her, but maybe a little change. And as a support player who's been a victim of Doomfist so many times, I would like a way to, I guess, make Doom a little less unfun to get one-shot by.
Okay, some sort of counter to Doom or something.
Not necessarily a counter to Doom either, because like Rig exists and Rig's very good against Doom, and I've talked to a lot of DPS players who have like gone full on record to say that Doom. Oh, that's disrespectful.
Asdo thinking it was still the experimental patch with the duplicate beat right there.
That would have been
I believe our next match would have been the experimental patch, but it expired, so now we're doing no limits.
unfortunate. I would have liked to see that.
Did you happen to get any of those? I know the couple of days I got to play, I tried. It was so hard to land that beat on somebody's head.
Yeah, I didn't get to do it myself. I actually played a lot of D.Va, and I got to appreciate the ability to yeet yourself like 15 feet into the air.
Okay.
That is
Fun at
definitely...
DMAC. And also
Yeah.
you could fly forever, which was nice.
Yeah, that was nice. I didn't actually get to play any of it because I didn't play this game.
what is this game we're playing again? I forget.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like some sort of thing made by, it's like Underlook or something, made by a small indie company.
Small indie company.
It looks really familiar to
Battleborn, I think.
Yeah, I think
I was thinking Paladins.
Yeah, looks like Paladins. Team Fortress 2 rings to mind. I don't know, but
Enough
anyways,
hats.
Dusty, how did you get
yeah,
up there?
needs more hats. Needs more hats. Overwatch, take a page
A lesson
from
from your predecessors.
Exactly. It needs more hats in Overwatch 2. But needless to say, there's a lot of changes coming down the pike for not only Tranquility but Overwatch in general. You know, we're kind of asking Asdo those questions, and I kind of want to ask you, what are your thoughts on? I heard, NPC mentioned in our last interview there was a recent call with Blizzard and the people working on Overwatch 2, and apparently some good things coming in. They can't say, but there's apparently some good things in that call that really got people thinking about that. So what do you think might be down the pike based on what we already know about Overwatch 2?
I would have to remember everything they've already done with Overwatch 2 first.
You're right.
But I think some of the healing nerfs is a good idea. It won't enable as much like very Goatsy style, which is it's very intricate and like there's a lot of strategy involved, but also like nothing ever dies, and that's kind of boring.
Right.
I think that if they're able to add more utility to other supports, like I know in Experimental they messed with Moira being able to cleanse CC with her Fade. I think just adding, I know that they want to add more stuff, more heroes, like I don't know what they're gonna do with DPS to make that more unique. They've got like almost every niche you can want.
Just about.
Yeah.
I'm not a tank player. I have no idea about what they would do for a tank player, but for a support player, I kind of want to see a return to the more like a lot more on the utility side than the pure healing side. Like Baptiste is just too much of both, for example. and
Right, you need
Moira,
somebody
Moira's too
yeah.
much healing, and
So you want like an OG Symmetra kind of support, not necessarily.
honestly, that would be really cool.
Yeah, not necessarily a healer, but somebody that's got gadgets and tricks that can kind of create preventable situations for the team with their abilities. I really like that idea. I mean, honestly, when I was playing Overwatch back then, I never really minded.
I think
shield
the only
generator.
DPS thing we're missing here is a flamethrower hero, somebody that can actually like spread like liquid fire. You know, I think.
Oh
that'd
hey,
be-
oh my
I
god,
was
ground
about to
fire
say-
and fire traps. Like, I don't know if you guys have played or even heard of Killing Floor 2.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah.
But like, there's the Firebug class where one of their mechanics is the ability to. Oh, that was a nice one by Kiddo. One of the like class mechanics is the ability to like lay down ground fire traps, and it just ignites things and does damage over time for like zone control. And I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's different
That's
because
kinda
that's
what I
a horde shooter as opposed to what Overwatch 2 would be, but
Yeah.
I think tweaking something like that for zone control would be pretty cool.
I think that'd be like an ability, but then you could add a flamethrower cannon, so it wouldn't penetrate shields, but anybody that it hits would just like light them on fire and just do a small DOT. I think that'd be kind of nice, but
It would be annoying to play against.
it
Oh,
sure
yeah, it
would.
would.
You'd need a little bit more cleansing abilities, I think, if you try to do something.
Yeah,
Rocket with 1 HP. Oh, he got the reset on that ability.
the
That
one
was
health
nice.
hero.
I know one thing that I've kind of been looking forward to, and I wonder what they're going to do with it. I forget the character's name from when Baptiste was originally released. The Talon
Alga?
tank.
Alga.
Yeah.
Naga? Yeah.
I want to see how that ends up working out, because if I remember correctly, the original design kind of looked similar to what we see from like the heavy tanks in Archives. Like
yeah,
I want to see like a roadhog type, tank dealer that is just out there to kind of take names as they're working their way through. Like, they might have like a heavy health pool, but they have no way to like keep themselves alive other than by killing folks first. Like, I think that especially if they decide to lock in this 5v5, that would definitely be an interesting way to go.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to like imagine that now, and it's like it's like playing it's like you'd have a Roadhog, except in terms of like no utility, very little peel potential. So then you just be reliant on your like support self-peeling with like a Brig or whatever. And then your DPS would have to be more self-sufficient, like where Ball like allows you to run like so many flankers and just be all over the place. Maybe Maga would be more like a enabling soldier or other like self-sufficient DPS.
Ooh.
Okay.
Or it's just like he takes an angle and then soldier has an angle and he's got his own self-heal, and then I don't know, someone else like Widow's off in like Narnia or wherever, and then you've got a Mercy somewhere, and it just sounds like a lot to deal with.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It could be a lot, and I guess that poses kind of another question that we've been asking thus far tonight. With all that's been coming out about Overwatch 2, I think the biggest thing that people are wondering is Blizzard going to walk back the 5v5? What's your opinion on that?
I think they will. Like, regardless of fan outcry, like, there was fan outcry around Rollock too, and that didn't stop them. Way back.
I think there was a lot of fan outcry for Rollock. I saw a lot of that, and they thought it was going to fix the game.
It did.
And look where we are now.
Well,
But-
it fixed the problems they had, but it started problems they didn't know they would have.
Yep.
You went from won't switch to can't switch.
Pretty much.
So
That's true, but like, I don't think they're going to walk it back. Partly because I don't think Blizzard's that good at listening to its players anymore. I mean, it took them how long again to figure out something to do with goats? And even then, it was just a very slap a band-aid on it measure.
And roll lock messed up goats. I mean, that's what killed it. You know, it's a shame that this isn't an actual match, because I would have been going bananas in that last hold. That was just an insane minute and a half of overtime we just witnessed.
Oh yeah, I was like half paying attention. I'm thinking,
I was like,
wow,
how are
they're
they still
pushing it pretty
alive?
far.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely a discussion that's on the table right now. I know that I saw this tonight and was actually kind of a thought that really is mindful is the thought of, instead of just one tank, utilizing one DPS instead, or buffing the support so there's only a single support. Like, we've kind of been locked into this thinking that, oh, like, it's just gonna be one tank, like that's just kind of the way it is. But what if 5v5 was not that?
I think there's too many DPS for that to be a healthy decision for the game.
Point.
If there were less DPS and more tanks or more supports, I think then that'd be more of a discussion. But right now, I just think there's too many DPS, not enough tanks, not enough supports. Where like either if you have the 2 tanks, 2 supports, 1 DPS, like the comp variety is gonna take a big hit, because like,
Yeah, until they add more to the game, you're not gonna have a lot of ways to switch things up. No, I totally get that. What are your thoughts on the single support aspect of it? Do you think that's something that's even plausible?
I think it would make Zen irrelevant. I think it would make Rig irrelevant. Well, not irrelevant, just a lot less relevant. I think that Baptiste would struggle. Moira would be maybe a little more common. But Zen would like not be a character that people would play if they were
Yeah,
trying
you'd have to
win.
rework Zen completely.
Yeah, either that or he'd be saved specifically for like dive or rush compositions at that point.
Oh yeah,
where-
Lucio too. Lucio would be more or less irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or at least he'd be, or it'd be something like Lucio, Roadhog, and then I don't even know who would pair with that, because you don't have enough raw heals as a Lucio to sustain an entire like composition based around Lucio.
You definitely have to buff some healing somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like any direction that they go, like there's
Mercy,
obviously
let's
gonna
get
be...
it. Let's get it.
Oh, Rocket!
Get him, Rocket!
No.
Should have dove in.
You can
But-
see now he's
Right.
like disappointed in himself.
Sag.
I would have just kept going.
Only
Yeah.
1 HP. Glitch made it away with 1 HP.
Then again,
is-
that's probably why I'm out of the playoffs, or I got out of the playoffs earlier.
completely understandable. As we see Aurum cleaning up the field, they're gonna go ahead, tie up our wonderful series 1-1 right here between Aurum and Indigo. But
before you go,
Yep.
a teammate, I have to ask you one question about. Have you been watching the All Stars matches this whole time?
Not really.
Okay, good. Well, so the question that Ty Munster would ask if he was here, he asked it every single time, and I got to continue the tradition.
All right.
In Ty Munster's honor, is there's only one statue in the entire Overwatch that has eyelashes. Do you know where this statue is?
Not even a little bit.
It's on Volskaya. Katya Volskaya on top of the bank at the beginning of the spawn it's the only statue in the whole game that they designed with eyelashes, and that's what Ty Munster looks at when he looks at statues. So he's an eyelash man. So
I'm glad that he has his priorities straight.
yeah. It's an interesting little tidbit, and every single time he casts Volskaya, he mentions it on and then he's asked this every single time, and apparently nobody listens to him when he casts. So sorry.
Well, teammate, thank you so much for spending your time here. Congratulations once again on making All Stars, and we hope that you have a good rest of your evening. But before you go, we wanted to give you a chance to shout out, teammates, other people that supported you during the season, and anything else you'd like to mention before we let you go back.
Okay, in terms of shoutouts, I just want to say again a big thank you to Polar and Yeti. Polar for being the coach who brought all us idiots together, and Yeti for just overseeing StarJorg as a whole and Trank as a whole. Like, I don't think people realize how much work this man goes through. Just I could not imagine doing it, and it's just so much respect. And to everyone else out there, thank you for having me, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of it. I will do my best to make it entertaining.
Thank you for being here, teammate, and we will see you next season.
Yeah, see you guys around.
All right. With that out of the way, it seems like we are going to send it to a quick little break. If you've been enjoying yourselves, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Discord All-Star action in just a few moments.
Hold my hand, fly with me, and
Welcome back, Overwatch fans. The final night of Season 7, the final halftime of Season 7 is upon us and completed. And now we have only got 3 maps remaining. Next map, we're going to be heading into Kings Row for a good old Winter Wonderland bash of goats.
Do we
And
think
more.
it's gonna be the winter Kings Row?
I mean,
I hope so.
I'm gonna take a wild guess that we would not get. I think there'd be a riot in the chat.
If we didn't.
Not only the stream chat, but the match chat. If we didn't go to Winter Kings Row for this matchup, but both teams are tied up 1-1. We've had some very interesting conversations with Asdo and your teammate, and many more to come as we're prepping to head into this map. NPC. Give me a little bit about how you've been feeling about this season. I can't really comment on it because I've been a little all over the place, you know, as a lot of casting talent stepped in this season and really kind of yoinked the possibilities away from me. So
I think this is one of our best seasons so far. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been a really good time. We've been very lucky that everything has gone as smoothly as it has, and you know, we're down to the last half of the last game here, and I couldn't be more pleased with the way how much Tranquility has grown, and where Tranquility is, and where Tranquility is headed at this moment. But you know, I want to hear opinions from somebody else. I think we need to bring in Gusty from Ragnarok Fenrir. But you know what else makes me Gusty? Is jalapeno beef and cheese Jack Link's beef jerky.
Huh?
So I had to get some during halftime, but it does make me a little gusty, if you know what I mean.
I got
Oh,
pulled
my
in for
goodness.
this?
Gotta get the NV branding in while you have a chance.
yeah,
right,
I'm
NPC?
contractually obligated. Okay, I have to
need
do it.
turn on
Everywhere
turn on-
NPC
There's a
goes,
poll.
Gusty,
Can I do that?
welcome. Glad to have you here. How were those first couple of matches?
Well, the first map, I enjoyed it, whatever that was.
That's what we said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a hard time following that.
Yeah. I liked watching first map. First map was a blast. I always like Rialto. Second map, I hunted down Rocket for like the first 2 rounds. So, or whoever was the Flexport was, or the Ana. I killed him once. That was great. And also, I came up. If you're wondering why we were running Brig Lucio, it was because I wanted to call it because I played it in a comp game and we dominated, so I wanted to try it here.
We didn't, because we haven't really been paying attention, to be
Yeah,
completely
yeah, we've been
Oh,
watching
okay.
every now and then.
Well,
Yeah.
chat saw, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that
Yeah.
I'm sure the chat's been paying attention, but we've been actually. This is actually something that NPC and I have been talking about offline, as well as Booth, who's producing today. Just the fact that we've had actually like talkative interviewees this time around, and so we can actually spend the time getting to know a little bit about you and how you felt about the season. So
Yeah,
I hope
listening
you
to
don't
the,
disappoint.
Yeah, I was listening to the Asda one and it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Not like funny, more of like I like his takes.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
got good takes. Well, speaking of takes, let's hear some of your takes. Is there any particular player this season that you played against, or maybe a whole team you played against that just scared you? That you just like, I hope I don't have to play against them, or I'm glad I didn't play against them.
well, coming into this season, I wasn't really like, I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't. It was I wanted to come into this season with like a fresh start after season 6 and like Soul, because I knew players were going to get better. I knew that players were smarter. Because like new season, new players, new mindset. I'm going to be honest. A Reminiscence. We're probably a team that I wanted to. That was pretty scary to me, and Lord and behold, it showed.
Yeah, with good reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Asdo, I remember him from last season. The dude's a god. Like amongst DPS players, he's an incredible player. So I was kind of like, because I knew if I played against him, I wouldn't be able to play as aggro because he would shut me down because of my Lucio being so aggro. So.
Speaking of aggro, right now we're seeing the Indigo team pushing up to Point Charlie here. Very furious take, and now we're seeing the ultimate feed fest of goats, as we typically do, and that initial pick gonna be allowing them to make some space there. So all the bodies hit the floor. Let's talk a little bit about how you felt the season went, Gusty. I mean, we know that Ragnarok didn't have, or at least Fenrir didn't have the season that they probably wanted based on how last season went. So, what are some kind of takeaways that y'all had, some goals for next season? Hopefully y'all are coming back, and what you learned.
So. Sadly, I'm not going back to Fenrir. I'm gonna stay in Ragnarok though as social media manager, but not to Fenrir as a player because I'll be moving up in tiers.
Okay.
But as for the team did implode mid-season. I think maybe before playoffs. I don't remember. But really, I think it was like I said, new season. Yeah. It was a new season. We didn't really know what we were going to get ourselves into, but we did practice a lot. Sadly, things just did not turn well in the start of the season as we got 4-0'd by Lotus, but we tried to bring it back. But like I said, things just sadly didn't work out for the team, sadly. So people had move on to other things, and we had to get a new roster in. But I'm pretty sure that it was a lesson for all of us. Really, that Soul being a team that not being biased or anything, I think people thought that we were a pretty scary team, and Decrypt, Mira, Yuki, and I all agreed that we were pretty good players and that we deserved to have wins this season. But I think this was a wake-up call that there were things that we still need to work on. And that we can show improvement, and I know that Mira and Decrypt both are incredible players, and I'm sure that we will be seeing them better and stronger.
Oh, that's rude, Pega.
Culture.
Oh,
Just it.
Oh man, no, and I totally agree with that, and I don't think, and I want to say this to every team that participates in Tranquility that goes through this. Because I feel like every team has a moment that this possibly happens with them, unless you have gotten incredibly lucky in the past couple of years if you've been part of this tournament for any length of time. If for some reason something happens that real life gets in the way of your team that really kind of changes things up, don't be disappointed. Right? At the end of the day, we're all here to have fun. We're here to enjoy our time together. And I know that some of us may get sweaty and salty if things change or things happen, but that's just life. That's just the way that life happens. And so I think the fact that you all can kind of recognize that, and that you're able to still be able to run it back the best that you were able to with the hand that you were dealt, I think just shows a lot of maturity that we hope for here in the Tranquility community as teams kind of learn and grow. I mean, we saw that with a lot of teams this season, where there was the anticipation, and some teams delivered and some teams didn't, and that's okay.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's fine, and even with the new roster, we still made it past. I don't remember how many rounds we got past, but I think we got past like maybe 1 or 2 rounds, and then lost to Mechanized, I believe it was, which knocked us out. But like I'm pretty sure that some of those players from the new roster that was built during playoffs, I'm pretty sure some of them are going to be coming back to Fenrir. If I remember correctly, if that's what was said. So you might expect players like Seb, who is a really good diva. I think was a great replacement for Veer. I think Seb will do well, judging by what I've seen from him so far from playoffs. I think he will do very well. And yeah.
All right.
Rusty in here spilling the tea.
Yeah. First off, your teammate very rude, interrupting the 1v1 like that. Not a fan.
Oh, I didn't see it. Wait,
Yeah, there was
wait.
a Lucio 1v1 going on over there.
Yeah,
and,
between Pega and Greninja, and then here comes your teammate, like, oh, I'll help. That's not,
Yeah,
that's
no,
not
that
the
was-
1v1
Interrupting Lucio 1v1 as a Lucio player myself. Interrupting Lucio 1v1 is probably the most sin thing that you can do. Like breaking a rule 1 of Rocket League if those you know what that is. Yeah.
No, tell us what that is. So,
Yeah,
for
okay,
those,
so-
of course I know, but like everybody watching might not. So.
Yeah, you have a point. You have a point. So Rocket League, for those who don't know, it's soccer with cars, with rocket-powered cars. And rule 1, according to what the community has created, is when 2 cars collide face to face, and they're like in a deadlock. Like none of them can outspeed the other, and they're just kind of just like deadlocked, both hitting the gas. And both hitting gas in each other, but they're not going anywhere. Like they're just in a standstill. That is what is called a rule 1. You stay like that until someone scores a goal, or someone, for some reason, being a jerk, breaks it.
Oh.
Okay, so
interesting.
You literally stay like that for the entire game until something happens that interrupts it.
okay,
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a very fun rule, and it happens basically all the time in pro play, and the pro players always respect it. I think there's been one occasion where a pro
Interesting.
player broke it, and that was at a LAN event, and the crowd booed.
I've been watching the
Wow.
RLCS. I've been watching Team Envy dominate the competition, and
Culture just getting denied every which way from
and I've never
Sunday,
seen that.
like-
I've never seen that happen actually in the RLCS. So I'll have to keep my eye out for it though, because I'll take your word for it. You're the Rocket League master, not me.
I wouldn't call myself a master, but okay, sure.
But what I
Yeah.
do love about GOATs is that like there's like 20 ultimates that all go off and nobody dies, and then
Yeah.
eventually one team ekes out 1 kill, and then it's a landslide from there.
Yeah,
I miss GOATs so much.
Yeah. I
That
miss
was
it.
peak Overwatch.
I miss it, but it went on for way too long. I think
Yeah.
that's what got it stale.
True.
I mean, that's the rough part about metas, right? Is that when
Yeah.
it becomes like I like where Overwatch is now because there isn't like there are metas that people follow, but those metas are easily counterable and can be
And they're different
easily
variations.
adjusted.
It's
exactly.
yeah, it's a rock paper scissors game. You know, rock might be the meta, but you know you could pull out a pretty good paper and you know hand it to them. So
Yeah.
that's always good. So speaking of changes and sticking around and you moving up at a tier and staying around on social medias, you know, the Overwatch itself is going to go through some changes pretty soon. We don't know if they're going to happen during our season 8 or not, but there's a lot of rumors, things that are going around right now. I've heard a lot of content creators, you know, Fitzy and Stylosa and Karq said that they got on a call today with Overwatch,
Yeah.
and they heard some great news there. They don't want to talk about it, but everybody is really excited about what they heard. What do you speculate that they heard? What do you think they
So-
heard on that call?
I don't really know. I'm guessing it has to do something with the team getting back to, well, at least most of the team probably getting back to developing Overwatch, since that Overwatch 2 possibly is very close to being complete and ready for launch for when the date is set. That is my opinion on it. I don't know if that's fact. But I think that the Overwatch team are going to be coming back with some big balance changes. Not a new hero, maybe not a new map, because I don't think I remember them saying that they're not going to be releasing any new maps. So I would probably maybe a map, and maybe some big balance changes to the game, and also some other content as well could possibly be like very close. Or an Overwatch 2 beta.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see an Overwatch 2 beta or an Overwatch 2 what's what I'm looking for, like a release alongside OWL, because that would be so hard to watch the pros play when it's a game I can't play myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest complaint I've seen from a lot of people thus far. But we've been kind of asking everybody since we're talking about changes and whatnot. You know, there was the recent experimental patch that we got to see kind of what people thought would be fun to do with certain heroes. You know, content creators having their voices heard. So if you had the opportunity to change one hero, what would it be, and what would you do to them?
Oh man, you can't do me like this.
We've been doing everybody like that.
Oh,
so.
you know, yeah, that's fine. I think.
Shout out
actually-
to Greninja for trying to Defense Matrix Nerf Shatter.
Beautiful.
I still do that sometimes.
Eat it! I eat the
It's
vibes.
the right click. I right click instinctively as a Reinhardt player, so I do.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I'm gonna do Lucio, and
Okay.
I would probably do what Heroes of the Storm did with Lucio, and that's add extra song effects. Is it, probably like
yes. Lucio hasn't released a new album in 5
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
Okay?
He needs a new album.
Synesthesia Auditiva is his only album.
Dude has
Right.
been playing the 2 songs for 5 years. He needs a new album. He needs a
Well,
comeback.
Well, I mean, it depends on what skin you have on, to be completely honest. Like,
That is
there
true,
are-
Jazzy.
Yeah, you got Jazzy, and I want to say that there's another one. I can't think
I don't
of it
think
off
you're.
the
I'm
top
pretty
of
sure
my
Jazzy's
head.
the only one.
Oh, that's unfortunate then. So it's no like changes to his kit or anything like that. You just want more
Okay.
music options.
Actually, yes. Sound barrier boops people back. And I say that because when I
Oh.
first played Lucio, I thought he could do that. But it turns out it was just me being dumb.
I mean, there were people that thought Lucio healed by shooting people when it first came out. I being one of them.
Understand
So,
how people thought that, but you know, whatever.
so I mean, yeah, like you're definitely not out of the norm for people getting into this game, but yeah, I mean that does kind of make sense, right? You know, Soundwave coming out from Lucio, it shouldn't do like a drastic knockback, but definitely enough to make, you know, a little bit of difference, you know, create some space between you and the enemy team.
Yeah, because like I think of Beat Drop, like I would think of Beat Drop like a combination of all of his abilities in the one. Like you got like
Soundwave, yeah.
you got like the shield that comes out of it, and also a knockback, which is like combination of his kit, which
Yeah.
I think would be a pretty cool change to him.
That's true. You want to know something interesting that I did not know until this week?
no.
I'm sure as a Lucio player, you already have the Overwatch League mix table
Yeah.
that came out.
Wait. Right. Wait.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mix-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's an emote. It's an emote where you play the music.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the dance party one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, of course. Of course I have that. I spent $15.
Did you know that his weapon is plugged into that table?
I did actually, because I went to draw it one time and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I did not realize that aspect until I was fiddling around with
It's a
it.
little-
Like I bought
it's
it
a
a
little-
while back.
I was
And-
just a little salty that they made it available to anybody. I paid $15 for that Overwatch season pass. Okay, I got that thing, and I was the king, man. I would come into lobbies and they'd be like, "Oh man, he got that skin. Oh, that's cool. That emote." And it had the little gun underneath and everything, and it was really cool. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, but you can have it for 200 league tokens." I'm like, "Yeah."
Well, you know how it is. You know how it is, NPC.
Yeah.
Incentivizing and capitalism make the world go round.
They did that to me with that Diva Police skin too. I
Play
suffered
Heroes
through
of the
5
Storm.
games of Hero of the Storm for that thing. And that was my battle scar. That was my badge of honor. And then, blank shatter. There we go.
Oh.
Should have waited a little longer. Should've taken a little
Culture.
longer, but that's all right.
Yeah, well, he didn't want to get
MTV
found out.
chat.
Culture,
Could have gotten a 6-man.
yeah, but Culture's been getting canceled left, right, and center by the
That's
supporters
true.
of Indigo.
Culture didn't want to get stunned out of it.
Wait, I just realized Gap on Lucio is the most cursed thing I've ever seen, actually. Hold on.
Oh goodness. Well, I
No
mean,
way.
Gap initially was trying to 1v1 your teammate or Greninja on Diva, so at the beginning of this round. So if you want to talk curse, that definitely seems a little cursed.
Yeah, speaking of which, I don't know if I've actually said this, and I'm pretty sure that I can leak it. I don't think Dad cares.
Leaks. Ooh.
So not only am I going to be staying in Discord to be a social media manager for Ragnarok, but I'm also coaching Domination now as an assistant coach.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
I know the boys over there, so it kind of just like works out.
Domination's pretty decent team.
Yeah.
You know, like sneaky good. Like we weren't really talking about Domination like a whole lot this season. So
Yeah, and I was wondering, I was like, they're not talking about them. Interesting.
A lot of Tranquility is name recognition.
Yeah,
right?
but
We talk about the teams that have been
Yeah.
there, the potatoes and the flashbacks.
Yeah.
We talk about
But then
people
I
that
realized
have
that you
been
guys
there
have probably never heard of any of them.
for a while. Right. So, but next season, I think that's going to change. Domination comes
Yeah.
back. We're definitely going to be there.
Yeah, I'm excited to work. I'm excited to work with Dab and all of them. It'll be very fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the discussion that we have kind of every season is that, you know, we kind of know the teams that we know, and then it's up to the teams that are coming in new to kind of prove us wrong and to show us their mettle. And as someone who, for the past 3 seasons before 7, your teammate popping out the golden table right there, beautiful. As someone who's paid like really close attention the previous 3 seasons, and then season 7, due to things going on, I couldn't pay a lot of attention to it. I was really surprised by some of the teams that ended up making it into the finals. I mean, Paradise Lost? Like that was incredibly impressive. You know, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, just seeing them come out of nowhere. You know, obviously those that were paying attention saw that coming, but for those that weren't paying that close of attention, it would be like, oh, all right, that's very interesting. So
Yeah, I started paying attention to them after they 4-0'd us.
Yeah. Yeah, well, tournaments like ours, you know, the teams don't have contracts and the players don't have contracts, and so there's no guarantee that it's going to be the same team year after year after year. So, while organizations like Marsupial Org and Flashbacks and you know the Amnesia Org or Nostalgia Org is what they call themselves, or you know any orgs like those, you know they exist and the organization exists and they get a lot of support from their coaching staff. But there's just no guarantee that they're going to be the same. You know, we saw a lot of good things at Ragnarok, you know, last season, and then, you know, we're thinking, okay, Fenrir is going to be kind of the same way, but as you know, it kind of wasn't.
I don't talk about that.
Wow, that was...
wow. Okay, a little bit of the gap diff right there, as you see. You see them go all the way into Point Charlie.
He's a bit of a Chad, we like to say.
Not even an Earth Shatter on the ready, just ready to pin.
Just ready to
like,
pin whoever
I
walks
can
in front
see
of him.
holding
Does he know that there's a brick behind him? Brick behind him?
Oh no!
Not even worth Gap's time. Was like, hey, Seraph, can you go chase them down? Take care of that for me. Thanks. Really appreciate that. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we've definitely noticed this season is just the incredible amount of growth, not only from the teams, you know, the caliber of the teams that are participating in Tranquility, but just kind of how teams have changed and evolved. Now Tranquility has changed and evolved over the season. So I guess, you know, tell us a little bit about your takes about, you know, kind of how Tranquility was for your team this season. You know, I don't know if you paid attention on Monday to some of the changes being made, like the EU division being added and whatnot. Like, what is you know, what are kind of your takes on some of the changes as they have been presented?
So I don't really know if there were any more specific in detail changes about like SR changes or whatnot, I don't really know. But I think the addition to EU, I know a lot of EU people from like Twitter or like just EU teams I've scrimmed with, and I'm sure that they would be happy to join like a tier 4 league because there's not really a lot of them. There's GGEU, and I think that's all that I know.
Yeah.
So
There's definitely
I
a
think,
space for us to exist.
and
so.
I think that not only Tranquility, but I think tier 4 as a whole can really like not a lot of people look at tier 4 in the Overwatch community and be like, yes, I watch Tranquility every day, and I'm sorry, I mean like Overwatch League and like contenders players, I'm sure they don't really know that tier 4 even exists in the first place. And I think that tier 4 can really like start something where like tier 4 players can really reach their ceiling and become and like reach the different tiers of pro level and possibly become like one of the best just by joining tier 4 leagues. And I think it'll be really great if more people would join.
No, I
for
completely...
sure. Tier 4 is where the players are. You know,
Yeah.
it's for players by players.
I mean, where do you think all these Overwatch League players come from? They definitely don't. They don't start just being the pros off of the bat. You know, they come from organizations just like ours. I mean, you've seen it. We've seen it with Elo Hell and League Zero and whatnot over the years. And you know, like you said, there is a lot of space. You know, just around the world. I won't even say just in EU in general, but you know, pretty much every other region of the world has space for tier 4 that currently does not exist.
Yeah,
And being able to see kind of this growth into the scene, I think is really great. I mean, teams like, you know, people may recognize Altiora from contenders, but Altiora has had teams in the tier 4 scene for quite some time now. You know, they've been around for quite some time, but there isn't anywhere other than GGEU for them to really perform.
Yeah, there's a lot of great talent in tier 4 across all the leagues, and it's really fun to see the amount of talent that there is within the scene, and how many players I could possibly see in the Overwatch League within the next couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, with everything going the way that it is between Overwatch and the way that the community is changing and growing and shifting, it's honestly hard to tell kind of what that will look like, you know, even just 1 year from now. Speaking of which, you know, we've been kind of asking some questions about you know, we covered a little bit of this earlier, but we wanted to talk a little bit about the changes that we know are going to be happening in Overwatch League in the near future. Ooh, good eat, Sarah. Very, very nice eat. But you know, with the change of 5v5, like, is that something that you're really excited about? Like, are you hoping that phone call may have said, oh no, we're gonna take that back, and keep it the way it is?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna revert it back. I actually, despite popular belief, I think 5v5 could possibly take a great turn for Overwatch, because in the past I have watched players that have, or like people that have not ever played Overwatch ever, play Overwatch for the first time, and they're like confused as to what's going on. Like, what's going on? There's a Sigma, there's an Orisa, there's Bastion, there's a Baptiste, there's Symmetra, there, and like their abilities makes your screen go crazy.
You're right.
So I think 5v5 will make the game easier to understand and more fun to play, which brings more people in, and I think that is actually a great marketing strategy for them. But the way that they handled it, I think probably could have been better.
Yeah. No, and I can definitely, as a caster that has to read all that and try to regurgitate that back to the people that are watching as well, it definitely is a lot to take in. But yeah, it's something that I hope at very least that that Blizzard is looking at with kind of a fine-tooth comb to really make sure that when that comes out, that it's not just absolute chaos when it comes out. That they've done everything they can to make sure that it's done right the first time. And I know that people have been complaining, like we've been waiting a couple years for this already, but you know, as a gamer, I would much rather developers take the time, do it right the first time, instead of churning out games left, right, and center, and it just being broken for like the first year. Like, that doesn't make it fun for anybody. So
yeah, I agree.
With that being the end of the game, that means we gotta let you go. So
before you go, Gusty, I gotta ask you the question.
Yeah. Okay,
all right.
Another question.
So Time Monster has been asking this question to everybody, and all 3 days, there's only been a couple of people that know the answer, but that's only because Time Monster, they watched the Time Monster show. So there's a statue in Overwatch. You know, there's lots of statues. There's the statue of Mondada and all that. There's one statue that has eyelashes. Do you know what map that statue is on?
A statue that has eyelashes?
Yes.
There's only one.
Statue that has eyelashes. Busan?
No, it is Katya Volskaya on Volskaya. The little statue of her at the top of the bank.
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Yeah, it's not something anybody ever notices except for Time Monster. He's kind of an eyelash guy. So anyway, it's been great having you here. Thank you so much for hanging out here with us today and talking about your plans for next season and spilling the beans. I'm sure Thor is going to have a word with you later. So thank you so much for hanging out. Is there any last thing you would like to say? Any shout outs? Any, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Anything you want to say to the Tranquility community out there, now's your chance.
Well, I said shout out. I've said a shout out before when I was on the beat drop before, but Domination Go in Discord. Let's go.
All right.
Season 8. We're coming back.
All right, Gusty, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to send you back to your team as it looks like you all will be prepping for Eichenwald, some no limits action here in the next matchup.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't wait. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, like I said before, the no limits, it starts off fun and memey, but by the end of that third point, they're like, yeah, we're going to go goats.
All right, I'll hold you to it, NPC.
So we're gonna see what happens now. Then again, I've already said this a couple of times, and maybe they've heard my predictions, and maybe they've decided, you know what, we're not gonna do it just because NPC says we are.
You're right.
We don't know. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't.
We will indeed see NPC, but honestly, I've been having such a good time tonight, and I hope the folks at home are having a good time. I know that it's always a little. It always hits you kind of in the feels, all the work the teams have put in this season and just kind of seeing it end. But, every good thing does have to end at some point so that you can start it all over again, because there are people that are always looking to get in. And if you missed at the beginning, be sure to be keeping an eye out for Season 8 registration. Will be possibly released in the next couple of days. That is going to be made available. Obviously, if you participated and are in good standing in the Tranquility community, you kind of get that first shot of being able to get in. But if you're a new team that's looking for a place to call home, and you have just 3 months of Wednesdays to kind of enjoy some fun with the crew in Overwatch, then be sure to be keeping your eye out. You can hit ! Discord in the chat, and you can jump into the Tranquility Discord, 3,000 members and climbing. So as we prepare for Eichenwald NPC, I mean, again, I didn't get a chance to tune in on Monday. Are there any additional changes or whatnot that we should be keeping our eye on for when Season 8 happens, barring that it's not the Overwatch 2 overhaul?
So assuming that we can get some sort of information, but right now we have some tentative dates. We have dates. So I believe the registration, of course, like I said, will open soon. And that's hopefully going to happen, in the next couple of days. Let me double check and look at my list here just to make sure I've got my dates perfect. But I believe that Season 8 I don't have the exact announcements on me, but I believe it's
No worries.
early January. I believe it's January 8th will be the time we start kind of picking teams, and then kind of towards the end of January, early February will be when we start our season. So it's literally right around the corner. It's only about 6 weeks of downtime before teams start ramping up. So we'll have about 4 weeks to get all the teams lined up and everybody in place, and then another week of some preseason tournaments, something like that. So we are looking forward to expanding into other games as well. We talked a little bit about possibly hosting some very short 1-day tournaments, 2-day tournaments for things like Halo, Rocket League, so on and so forth. But looks like we got the 4 balls and Faras, and I don't even, do they not see them?
Goodness gracious.
Why? Okay.
I feel like this whole thing was set up the way that it needed to be kind of like a Carol the Bells aspect of this matchup.
There's only one person that can
Yep,
explain what's going on here, and that's
Exactly.
Greninja. Let's get Greninja in here.
That's true. Greninja.
Greninja, can you explain to us what we're seeing here on the screen? What is the strategy here?
I'm gonna be honest. I did not give them the seal of approval on this comp. They just kind of. I saw like 3 people instantly lock ball, and then the rest of them just kind of like went with that like mob mentality. Just like, yeah, let's play
okay.
ball.
I feel like we got a little Carol the Bells situation coming in, like they're timing their slams, ding, 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 ding,
The holiday
ding, ding.
spirit,
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
keeping
yeah.
it lively. We do have the 5 Hogs, 1 Reaper composition as well coming out on the attack, which should make things relatively interesting. Of course, lots of hooks being missed. Definitely no 12 hooks, 1 hole situation at this point. But it looks like Team Alpha might be locking this down, getting this payload moving. So let's go ahead and get this interview started. Greninja, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that don't know, Greninja was part of Echo Fleet. Definitely a team making their name, making a name for themselves from the battalion organization. I'm interested to see kind of what your take was on this season. How'd you feel about your team's performance, your experience kind of in the tournament, playing in Discord tier, and kind of how all that worked out in the end?
Yeah, so definitely in the regular season, I was really proud of us. Obviously, we finished #1 seed. Had a really good stage 1 and 2. I think we only dropped like 1 or 2 games throughout the entire regular season. And obviously, playoffs is a little bit different, but I was really proud of us throughout the regular season. But come playoffs, we can really, I guess work things out, kind of spaghettied a little bit in the matches that we lost. But I mean, it happens. We didn't scrim very much come playoffs due to some people having IRL stuff, but overall I'm still proud. I mean, I can't really hold anything against anyone for what happened in playoffs, but I can only look at the positives of the season.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So overall, having a good time this season. What are your plans for next season? Is Echo Fleet coming back? Are you staying with them? Or are you kind of keeping your options open? Maybe hoping to find something a little different.
I'm still keeping my options open. I can't play in Discord tier next season because I hit Masters on support. So
Congratulations.
Oh, thank
But
you.
also, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's always
Yeah.
that trade, right? It's like, congrats, making it.
Oh, Blood Hungry. Let's go.
Oh goodness, a couple of hogs right on over the side. But it's always great to expand, and be able to get up to that level. But it sucks when you can't play with your friends and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
kind of, what are your current intentions for next season? Whether it be participation. I know that you've coached in aerial felines for a while as well. Kind of, what are your current plans?
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna be staying around Shank next season. That's a certainty. I've been trialing for a couple different Trans tier teams. I can't really say who yet.
Ooh.
But I've been trialing for a bunch of them. I have a couple on my short list I'm interested in, but I have to finish up the trials. So
Okay.
I will probably be playing support in Trans tier next season. I am also going to be continuing to coach in the Felines org for one of their teams. I'm not sure which one yet. I haven't decided. it's either going to be the Discord tier Harmony one. So
Okay.
still waiting to see and like talking with some of the people there, seeing what opportunities I got from me. But yeah, I will be keeping up the playing and coaching next season.
Nice.
Okay, good, excellent. So, you know, Overwatch, you know, Tranquility's having some minor changes, but there's going to be major changes happening in Overwatch or Overwatch 2, and I heard today that a lot of the content creators and some of the teams and pro players got invited to a call with Blizzard, and they weren't allowed to talk about what they talked about, but they did say that they were very excited for the content that they heard. Well, what do you think that they heard? If you had to guess, what do you think they're so excited about?
Oh jeez. Well, it's hard to tell because like there's so many different content creators that from what I saw on Twitter like that got like shown this like preview or whatever. Like there's some like former pros, you know, you got like Samito who like all these high like elo players. So they're probably more interested in like the balance side of things, whereas like some more like casual people, I'm not too sure like who those people would be, but I'm sure that there were some that were shown it. I'm sure there'd be more
Stylosa, Fitzy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just I mean they're still good players, don't get me wrong, but like they're more focused on like the casual side of Overwatch, I'd say. So I think they're more interested in seeing like, you know, the maps and the heroes and stuff, so
They all seem pretty good. So.
I think it was definitely like a lot of new content, but also a lot of like changes, like balance patches, which I think will excite probably everyone.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have been kind of discussing that, you know, maybe it's finally time for the beta to come out, that, you know, maybe it's something that'll be made available. I know that that's something that that is kind of deciding, you know, kind of how things go in Tranquility as well. So kind of what is the thing that you're looking forward to the most? First teabag of the night, gotta love it. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to when it comes to the discussion around Overwatch 2 and what's kind of at least said is going to be available?
Honestly, I'm just interested in whatever new content there is. Like honestly, like I understand that, you know, balance patches, people are excited for that and seeing like how all the reworks are going to be done. I'm interested to see who the new characters are and playing the new maps, because like one of the biggest things to this kind of turned me off, well not turned me off because I still play the game all the time, but one of the things that has made me not enjoy the game as much recently has just been like the sheer just lack of content that we've been getting. Like it's been what, like 2 years since the last character?
Oh yeah, at least
2 years since the last character, about the same amount of time since the last legitimate map. I mean, we've had some like deathmatch maps that have come out recently, but
yeah. I miss the excitement of seeing, you know, like a new character trailer on Twitter and getting really excited to like get on, try out the new character and like whatever.
Like that Sombra ARG that lasted for months. That was a good time.
Like that kind of stuff, like I love it, and all the lore stuff. Like there's been like nothing about lore recently. I don't remember when the last like cinematic like trailer thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's been
probably Echo, right?
Yeah.
Like I miss that. I miss being hyped about the game, and like I think I think Blizzard could do a better job with, you know, their marketing for Overwatch 2 and stuff. Like obviously I know I don't know what's going on like behind the scenes. I don't know how far in development the game is, but I think at this point, and like with what they're apparently telling content creators, I think some of it should be more public, and we should have like a better idea exactly on like, you know, what they're adding to Overwatch 2.
I never noticed that was a computer repair store.
Yes, right there. There's a computer shop up the stairs. So, all right. So Captain Jack has
the new every day.
in Eichenwald.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I don't get the role for Eichenwald very often.
Okay, you know what?
That's pretty accurate.
I'm just gonna bring it up right now. Normally I wait to the end of the interview, but let's get it out of the way. Speaking of things you don't notice in the maps, Time Monster has been asking this question the entire time, and I have to continue the tradition because he's not here. I have to do it in his honor. There is a statue. There's plenty of statues in Overwatch maps, but there's only one of them that has eyelashes. Do you know where that statue is located?
Eyelashes.
Only one map. One map has eyelashes on a statue.
Oh jeez. I feel like.
Dang, Asdo.
It's probably wrong, but it's the only map that I'm thinking that has statues. Is it Volskaya?
It is
It is
Volskaya.
Volskaya.
It is Katya Volskaya on top of the bank at the beginning of the first spawn. So, congratulations, you lucked out and you got it. Ty Monster would be proud of you. Ty Monster mentions this every time he's casting, and Volskaya is picked, by the way, and nobody seems to listen. So because nobody's gotten it except for you. Well, no, I believe Asdo got it, but only because he saw Ty Monster yesterday. So, congratulations, but it's a weird little fact. Ty Monster just likes eyelashes.
I mean, fair enough. Well, our niches.
Yeah.
Well,
So, go ahead, Jack.
Some other questions that we've been asking, continuing to talk about changes and modifications. You know, we had the experimental patch recently that came out, and you know, content creators and pro players and whatnot got their chance to really make Overwatch the way they wanted to. You know, some of the changes were silly, but some of them a little bit more like thought out and planned, and really kind of changed the way the game is played. So, if you were given that opportunity to be able to change one hero in the game, Greninja, who would it be, and what would you change?
Oh. Ooh. I mean, in my opinion, as a tank player, it would have to be Rein, because in my opinion, like Reinhardt comps are just the purest form of Overwatch. Like Reinhardt just perfectly enables like team play and like individual play with like, you know, your Fire Strike lineups and like shatters.
Nasty hook, Gab. Sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I just feel like Reinhardt is like the perfect like encapsulation of like Overwatch as a game, because he enables teamwork and also kind of solo play with like his shatters and stuff. So honestly, I think the experimental patches that they just dropped for him were honestly amazing. Like reverting the shield back to like 2000 HP, reverting the shatter time to 3 seconds. Like it just made him feel like good again, and not just like, you know, someone that just gets like rolled over.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I enjoyed about it as well, as a Reinhardt player. Just because I always feel like since the nerfs came in, like, first off, his shield still gets melted because he has no ranged defense. Right, so unless somebody's behind him really pushing into the team, like, he's just taking on all that damage. And then with Shatter, like, you have to react so quickly as Reinhardt when the Shatter goes down to be able to close the gap. And, you know, if you're playing comp, you know, in Platinum like I usually am, and, you know, there's nobody playing Lucio, the only option you have to get somebody before the pin wears, or before the Shatter wears off, is to charge. So that 3 seconds gives you a little extra time to be able to close that gap and actually get some full value out of that Shatter. So I think your takes are very well thought, and it looks like finally Aurum is going to take Objective Alpha. Unless one of our many Lucio players currently on Indigo have something to say about that.
Yeah, I'm just surprised this game hasn't devolved to GOATs yet. I mean, you know,
I was about to say, they
single
must have
night.
been listening.
They never even got to point 3. They never got past the bridge. So looks like it might happen though. Looks like they might actually cap the objective here.
Oh.
A little bit more Eichenwald.
Chief just barely able to get out of that blizzard right there. Very interesting.
I'm enjoying the chain blizzards coming out.
Yes.
I was
very happy. I'm sure they're very much enjoying the game right now.
I know that was another thing that people enjoyed, the Frozone buff. Being able to speed around as Mei while spraying the ground.
I mean, I don't know how much I want to buff Mei as a tank player, but
you're right.
It's an interesting change. I don't think it would hurt anyone.
You know, as we kind of continue our discussion here, as you know, there are some changes being made to Tranquility moving into next season. Kind of, what are your thoughts on that? You know, expanding into the EU and whatnot.
Expanding into EU? I mean, it's in my opinion, it's great. I mean, any sort of expansion that can be done before Overwatch 2 and before like the new influx of people come in is only going to benefit Trank, because I have a feeling once Overwatch 2 comes around, and if Trank, knock on wood, is still around, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be, but like hopefully by the time Overwatch 2 comes out, there'll be an influx of people coming back to Overwatch. And I think if Trank can prove that they can, you know, withstand like operating in a larger league, I think that'll be like, good for them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the bigger questions that have been asked tonight, or just kind of question is that I think people don't realize how much work sometimes goes into communities like this, and especially if you think about Tranquility and just the fact that for the admin team alone, which is the main force of our staffing, unless you're looking at production, I mean, a majority, we're only looking at like 6 people for the most part, and then you have the community liaisons and the mods that are helping out now and again. But 72 teams, you're looking at almost 600 players, on the maximum side. Like that is a lot to process for such a small team. So if you haven't already, be sure to be thanking your admins, folks.
I was just about to say, more power to you guys. I don't know how me and 6 other people could handle that. I mean, obviously you guys do an amazing job at, vetting every player.
The booth says lots of caffeine. Lots and lots of caffeine. Yeah, that's true.
Lots of late nights, lots of caffeine. I definitely can understand. I've been in that similar situation a lot lately. So, definitely be sure that if you're participating in communities like this, to make sure to just be thankful and be understanding with things like changes or adjustments, and do your best to do what needs to be done for your team. All right, 6 people having to follow 72 teams. You can't keep your eyes on everything. So I think Tranquility is definitely one of the best places that we don't have to worry about so much people trying to skirt the rules, at least anymore. I don't feel. Now that we've kind of drawn that line in the sand, and Aura, it looks like, has taken away the victory tonight, but we still got one more map to play out. So with that being said, Greninja, our time is done with you, but we do want to give you a chance to shout out anyone or say any thank yous or anything that you're looking forward to moving forward.
Oh, geez. Well, I'd like to thank all of you guys for having me on, first of all. Let me talk to you guys. It was fun. Shout out to everyone on the Trink staff, all the admin teams, Cav, everyone. You guys honestly do an amazing job running this community. I've been here for, I think, 3 seasons now. And there's a reason why after every season, I'm always like, all right, yeah, I definitely want to come back here. Because it's just a really well-run community. You do a really good job at just allowing people to be themselves and give them a safe environment to play competitively, but also foster a very wholesome community. It's something that I haven't seen in many other communities that are more just focused on gameplay or whatever. So shout out to you guys for providing that. Shout out to everyone in For Fun Org, everyone on Battalion, Echo Fleet, Sky Guardian this season. Y'all did amazing. And shout out to my parents. They watched all of my matches this season, and I think they're watching this right now. So shout out.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Yep. Love you, Mom and Dad.
Honestly, can I just
that
take
was
one
touching
more
right
second?
there. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, that.
When Jack and I were in Chicago, there was this family that had signs for their kids playing, and they were like, "Let's go!" and their kids were like, "Mom, you're embarrassing me," but we were we were for it. We were all for it.
I mean, we've talked about this a little bit already tonight, but seeing esports really come into its own, and school staffs and parents and whatnot really recognizing the value of esports has been awesome.
It's the same lessons you learn in regular sports. It's sportsmanship and teamwork and commitment and all those things without the physical activity.
Especially with
a lot less injuries, that's for sure.
Especially with the C word thing that's been going on the past almost 2 years. It's been a good alternative.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. So anyway, thank you so much, Greninja, for being here. Thank you so much, Greninja's parents, for watching. We appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody watching at home. We're gonna get on to our next map. So our next map, it's gonna be weird, right? Because we've got 3 separate sections of the map. We've got the control center, we've got gardens, and then we've got night market, right?
Yep.
And so control center is all tanks, if I'm not mistaken, and garden is all DPS.
Yep.
and the night market is all supports.
The
So
Spanish Inquisition.
the Spanish Inquisition 6 supports. The Spanish Inquisition was definitely a lot more fun when there were only 6 supports, but I believe now there are 7, so it's a little bit different.
I think it's still fun. I mean, I
It's-
honestly wish
yeah.
in open queue I still try to push that. You know, when we're doing really good on the defense and we lock them into point alpha, I'm like, Spanish Inquisition. Let's go,
let's
please.
just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just
It's
see
so
what
much
happens.
fun.
But so I don't know what map we're gonna go to first, but I'm looking forward to the all DPS because I feel like there's just so much more flexibility there because obviously there's like 80 DPS heroes. And
Something like that.
you know, it looks like we are going to control centers. It's going to be all tanks, and this is probably the most difficult to play because the only one that can really heal yourself is Roadhog.
Yeah, there's no AoE
Zarya can kind of
heals.
recharge that bubble a little bit, but they're fighting for the health packs. Controlling the health packs is almost more important than controlling the objective. On control center, and we're gonna see. I mean, obviously, we're just gonna have some total mayhem. I don't think anybody's going into this thinking a strategy quite like I am. Everybody's just
press
like, you know what,
W
I'm gonna
and
shift
Q
on
when
cooldown.
available. Pretty much.
But
But with that, we do have one last interviewee to bring in. So let's go ahead and welcome Smarties from player that played on the Holy Jalapenos this season. Smarties, great to have you.
Hi guys, how are you?
Doing all
Hello,
right.
Smarties.
How have you been doing tonight?
Good. I was not expecting to just be dragged in here very randomly.
That's how
so
we do it.
yeah.
I was very
Surprise!
Yeah, it's like we let you know, and then just when it happens, it happens. That's kind of how it rolls here. So,
I like it.
so I think the first question on everyone's mind is just, you know, how have you been feeling? How did you feel about this season? I think the biggest change that happened for the Spicy org is that Holy Jalapenos were really the only team that participated this season, moving into the Discord tier instead of going under the Heckin' Hobbs name. And you know, the performance was pretty great for what it was. So kind of give us a little bit about your take, you know, things that you learned this season, and kind of what your plans are moving forward.
Yeah, so this was my first season in Tranked, so going into it, I kind of had no idea what to expect. I met the Ghostly Peppers last season, or 2 seasons ago, and we kind of all became like pretty good friends, and eventually Beth was like, hey, like, how would you feel about trying out for the Holy Jalapenos? And I was like, why not? Like, I like all of you people, so might as well give it a shot.
I mean,
it was
we're
honestly-
good friends, I guess. Yeah, that's fun.
But like, honestly, I had such a blast. Like, I didn't think, like, I knew it would be fun, but I didn't realize how much fun I would actually have in the end. So it's like, once we got out, it was kind of like this big moment of like, well, do I have to be out? Like, I just want to keep playing. Like, let me back in. So I'm super excited for next season. And Chim and I are actually starting our own team, which is going to be in the trance tier, which will be very exciting. But we're not going to be under the Spicy org. I wanted to let Beth have her names because I wasn't sure if she would like us borrowing them.
Oh.
But it'll be very exciting, and I hope that the Spicy org continues to play in Trank.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of the great part about Tranquility is that, you know, you start out as friends and sometimes you switch teams and technically you're opponents, but you're not really rivals. It's a friendly competition, you know, and you still wish them the best, unless of course they're the red team.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, no, I hope you guys lose.
Yes.
But no, we're glad to have you.
Wow, did you see that? Oh my
that
gosh.
that whole
Chief,
hog.
Chief just keeping Rocket charging against the wall. Beautiful. Sorry, we're going to have a little bit of that going on, so
So,
apologies.
Smarties,
Oh, you're so
have you played in other tournaments like this one before, GGNA, anything like that, or was Tranquility kind of
So,
your first organized game?
I played in UGC for 4 seasons, and so last season I was playing in both at the exact same time, which was a little bit, it was kind of insane, but it was super fun because I was just like fully like immersed in like Overwatch, which is like what I wanted it to be. And it was great as well. Like, I like loved it, but they're very different. So it's like they each have like pros and cons like to each, but like the community here is just like my all-time favorite. Like, I'm just obsessed with it.
Yeah, I noticed that you've adopted the Ghostly Peppers DN at the end of your battle tag.
Yes, I have. Yeah, Jim convinced me to.
You
buy an
definitely
account.
fit in with those guys.
yes, they're some of my favorite people. They're pretty awesome.
That's definitely understandable, and we've been talking about kind of the future, and you said a little bit about you and Chim kind of creating your own team. Are we allowed to hear any spoilers, or is that something we're gonna have to wait for season 8 before we get to see a little bit more info on that?
Well, we're still doing tryouts right now, but we do have a couple of other Trank people trying out. So it's kind of like a mix. I think we have like 3 different teams on our that are trying out for our team right now. So it's gonna be like it's gonna be really strange. But
that's the way a lot of teams are, though, especially in Trance tier, with a lot of teams players getting better, needing to move up, but not necessarily within their own org. So
yeah.
You're gonna see a lot of that, and I think that actually helps our community grow a little bit, because everybody kind of brings in somebody different, and it's always good to have that. So.
Absolutely. And speaking about change, we've been talking a little bit about the change that's not only happening within Tranquility, but within Overwatch as a whole. So as you know, or as you may not know, because I just found out from NPC during our cast today, there was a phone call that happened with some relatively important people in Overwatch, and content creators, pro players, and whatnot, and apparently it was a really big deal. What do you possibly think that it could have been about?
I have no idea. I have not heard about any of this. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I just kept seeing on Twitter, like, Stylosa and CarQ and ML7. They were like, I am so excited about Overwatch in 2022. They were just like, I can't talk about it, but they are pleased as punch about what's about to happen. And it made me speculate. It's making everybody speculate. What could this have possibly been about? And we're kind of hoping, there's some cool stuff going on. So
yeah, whether it be a beta coming out, just some more, just that the team is at very least buckling down to try to get Overwatch 2 out to the masses by the start of Overwatch League. I mean, there's just so many speculations coming out, and as you know, there was the recent experimental patch that dropped that everybody got to have a lot of fun with. So I want to get your take on what you would do if Blizzard came to you and said, Smarties, we want you to pick one hero and change something about them, whether it be for the lulz or for an actual change. Who would it be and why?
Oh gosh. Okay, well, as a flex support main, I thought Ana being able to nano herself was like the funniest thing ever. Like, I just thought it was great because you could just like literally just DPS the entire time and scare everyone, because oh my gosh, it was just amazing. So that's kind of like my Mimi one. I don't think it would actually help in game at all, but just having like the power as like this tiny little sniper just makes me so happy.
Okay, that's a good answer. It's a valid answer. It was fun.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I can definitely see how it could possibly be used. I mean, it wouldn't be used so much as just go and DPS Ana, but I mean, Ana is in so many positions sometimes. As to with the beautiful, even brings out the candy.
Oh, nice.
That's beautiful right there. But just being able to have the utility of, like, if I have to save my own cheeks because the team isn't peeling for me, to be able to nano myself, like, that would be really helpful.
just for the stall potential, for sure.
Exactly. Cool.
So Smarties, we talked a little bit about your team next season, and we talked about your history this season, but when you're playing Overwatch, is Overwatch kind of your main game? You were talking about how you were really focused on Overwatch, but we've been dry on content for a couple of months. Do you play other games? Are there other things you're interested in, or is it just kind of like you feel like Overwatch is about to turn that corner any minute now?
Ooh, that's a good question. So before Overwatch, Overwatch was like the first PC game that I ever played. So I got my PC about a year and a half ago, and I immediately downloaded Overwatch because all my friends told me to. So it was like the first game that wasn't on console that I actually was like super excited about. And ever since downloading it, I don't even want to know how many hours I played across all my accounts. It's probably a sickening amount. Like, you don't even want to like know the number. But it's really been the game I have been super focused on. I almost hit 3,600 like 2 days ago, which is like super exciting. So I've been like running a lot in the past like season or two. So slowly improving, getting there. But it is my main game at the moment, and every single time I do need like a mental break, it's always just like Minecraft or something that's not super, that you don't like really need to focus on and like use all your brain power, like Animal Crossing. I don't know, just like
Feel
chill
that.
games where I can just like listen to like nice music, and I'm like, okay, like I just need to de-stress now.
Yeah, I've never understand the people that are like, oh, I'm tired of Overwatch, I'm going to Apex.
I know.
Or like Valorant. It's like I tried doing Apex for a while, and like it is so. Like I already have issues with anxiety, and my anxiety was just through the roof in Apex because, and it was the same way in Call of Duty as well. With the I don't know why it's escaping me right now. Their version of the Fortnite Warzone. Like it was the same way. It's
Royales.
like, oh my gosh, where are they gonna come from? I don't know if somebody's behind me. Like I keep checking my corners. I'm so nervous. Like I don't know how people do that when they're not playing Overwatch because it already stresses me out. So
If you played one battle royale, you've kind of played them all, but
pretty much.
Yeah, it's a different experience, but there's nothing quite like Overwatch. There's games similar, Valorant and things like that, and then Team Fortress 2 and Paladins and Battleborn, but nothing is quite the same.
Yeah.
It's Overwatch is its own thing, and I hope it's going to turn a corner. I really do. With all the content creators being excited, it gives me new hope. I haven't played Overwatch in a month. I've been playing Halo, and I'm happy with it. But I might actually come back to Overwatch now.
Yeah. Speaking of Overwatch and turning the corner, I know one of the things that has kind of been speculated as of recent is, there's always been kind of a back and forth as to whether or not the 5v5 is the valid option, right? If that's the way that the game should change to be able to breathe new life into it. Kind of what is your opinion on that? Do you think that that's the right move for Overwatch 2, or do you think that that's too drastic of a change for a game that, for 5 years has been so kind of straightforward?
When they first announced the 5v5, I was like super skeptical. I was not very hopeful, and I was just super kind of bummed because I was so used to playing like the 6v6. Because I've only been playing Overwatch for like a year, and it's not that long in like the grand scheme of things. But kind of like picking up this game and then knowing that I'm gonna have to like swap to kind of a completely new game. It's like this lingering feeling of just being like terrified.
Yeah.
It's like I like the game and I don't want it to change, and I don't know if the 5v5 versus like the 6v6 is going to be that big of a deal like once we're like actually playing it. But just like the overall thought of it is very, I don't know. I feel bad for all my off-tank friends because they're all like, oh, well, GGs. Like,
honestly, let's be completely honest. It's the main tanks that aren't going to be playing.
Yeah.
Let's be really honest here. The off-tanks put on a freaking clinic whenever they have to work, so it's the main tanks that really got to be worrying about their jobs. It's what it comes down to. But
I am excited though. I think once it comes out and everyone's playing it, it's gonna be great. But I think it's like leading up to it, everyone's just like nervous, and I think I'm in the same boat as well. Just being kind of like, okay, like how is this actually gonna happen and work?
Yeah, I'm kind of on both sides of that boat. Like I understand the reasons why, right? Like as a caster, like there's so much that's going on screen, and being able to take one of those players off the field can be really beneficial just to brain power in general and make it a little bit more straightforward. But I also understand the other aspect is that there's a reason that Overwatch was 6v6 at the beginning, and the way that heroes are developed and the way that they impact the gameplay. Like, yes, Assault probably wasn't the best map type for a game like Overwatch. I think we can all agree with that to a certain extent. But for the most part, the way that Overwatch's balance has really always been based off of that. It takes a team. It's not your Call of Duty, it's not your Halo. Like one person can't really backpack the team. It takes the entire team working together that makes Overwatch so enjoyable to play and participate in. So
I've always felt like that we had two players of every role, to give a second chance to pick the meta hero. If Reinhardt is just a must pick right now, if one tank doesn't pick him, the other one can.
I mean, that is also.
There was a couple of seasons there. The weird rework Mercy, where Mercy was the must pick. The double res Valk Mercy. Remember that? And it was like if one support didn't pick Mercy, the other one had to, otherwise you lose.
Yeah, that is a little true. I mean, mostly I see Roadhog in any of my comp games nowadays.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's
Everywhere.
that's here or there when it comes to actual competitive. But yeah, I totally kind of get what you're saying on that aspect and understand the kind of duality of it as we see the DPS. By the way, it's tied up right now, 1-1. Aurum currently at 52%. The point has flipped over into Indigo's side for those of you watching at home. But Smarties, tell us a little bit more about kind of your kind of how you got into Overwatch. I'd say you're probably, as far as I know, the first person that we've had tonight that actually started off in Tranquility this season. So kind of what has been your opinion on it? You know, if you watched on Monday, kind of the changes that we're making with growing to EU and stuff like that. Like, what's your opinion on that?
Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, well, okay. My opinion on Overwatch overall, very fun game. 10 out of 10. I can see how people also get very burnt out though. Especially with like not really having like a recent content update. Hasn't it been like 3 months, 4 months now?
2
Since,
years.
I mean, it depends on what aspect you're looking at. If you're looking at kind of the recent updates to Cassidy and the comics about that, it hasn't been very long. But if you're looking at like competitive updates, new heroes, new maps, like it's been almost 2 years.
Like competitive updates and like reworking. Like I know I have a whole bunch of like main tank friends that just like refuse to play the game right now because like it's felt like the same game for like months, you know?
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and like I see where they're coming from, but also as like a flex support, I'm just here to heal people and have fun. So it always feels different because I always have like randos that I just need to babysit all the time. So I don't know. I think it's great. And also like the EU thing, that sounds so exciting. I mod for a different server that has a bunch of EU people in it as well. So like seeing other communities kind of like expanding towards that and opening up those types of things is just like super exciting because I know so many EU people that like want to be involved in things like this. So that's awesome. Like congrats for doing that. Like wow.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely talked about a little bit tonight is that, you know, we think that we're starved here in the States for Overwatch, but I mean, the tier 4 scene is booming here, whereas if you look in, you know, in the EU and Asia and APAC and whatnot, like that doesn't really exist. Like there are communities and, you know, they play together, they do pugs and stuff like that, but there aren't really like tournaments based in these regions. And so being able to see that kind of growth for communities like Tranquility is pretty awesome. But that is the end of our map and the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Smarties, for being with us tonight. We do want to give you
I gotta ask Smarties the question.
You gotta ask the question. Ask the question, and then we'll let you shout stuff out.
Time Monster has been asking this question to every single person, every single time, and only one person has organically gotten it right. So, in all the maps of Overwatch, there's a whole bunch of little statues everywhere, but only one statue has eyelashes. Do you know what statue that is?
One statue with eyelashes? I can only think of one map with the statue.
Okay.
And it's Volskaya because it's on like the big building, like the front of like Spawn.
It is. Well, that's the one.
That's the exact statue.
I had no idea that it had eyelashes.
Katya Volskaya has eyelashes. I mean, there's also the big statue of Mondada on King's Row. You know where you put the bastion.
Yeah.
I don't know how I
there's a bunch of statues
so
everywhere.
embarrassed.
Especially on Rialto. You know.
Shim is gonna yell at me. He's gonna be like, "How do you not know that there's statues everywhere?"
There's statues everywhere on all the maps. But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Smarties, and we are excited to have you back next season. Season opens up. The registration should open up after this game, some point tonight, tomorrow. So be looking in the announcements channel in the Discord, !Discord for that, and you know, fill out that form and get first on the list.
All right, Smarties. Thank you for joining us. Are there any shout outs or anything that you'd like to say before we let you go for the evening?
Well, thanks to you guys for interviewing me. This was very fun. Thank you to Chim for, I guess, showing me Trank and forcing me to be on a team with you. That was also 10 out of 10. And I don't know. I love Krev too, and he's also on the team for next season. So that would be very fun.
Nice. We'll be looking out for that for sure.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Smarties. You have a good night.
You too. Bye bye.
All right, NPC. It's hard to do. It pains my heart a little bit. This has been I believe the 3rd season I've had to do this, but it's the end of our show for this season. Season 7 is officially done. Is there any last things that you want to put out or you want to talk about before we let the folks go tonight?
You know what? I do have the official dates for some of that stuff if you want to hear it. So the registration for season 8, it's about to start. Should be starting tonight or tomorrow. So we're ready for that. Looks like we're going to start taking a look at this somewhere early January, like January 10th-ish. And then we're going to start locking people in on January 24th. So that's when we'll start locking in your team. So you will have that deadline. You have to grind there. That date may change depending on where the beginning of the season falls. Obviously, if a season starts on January 22nd, then we're not going to make everybody do all their placement matches in 2 days. So we'll change that date. But we're at Overwatch League and Overwatch's mercy, pun intended. And because we've kind of let that happen, but the preseason should start early February 9th, and then the target date right now for the season start would be February 23rd for the actual season to start, which means that we would end up somewhere around late June, so right around Father's Day is when we would be ending season 8. So I'm excited about all of that. So I mean, we got that whole spring season planned, but you've really got until January 24th. So it's over. It's about 6 weeks. About to just chill, relax, play some other games, play some Animal Crossing, play some whatever, or grind Overwatch. Get your teams together. Just be ready. So I'm excited. I've been just so grateful to be here this entire time and be witness to all of this, because every single player out there has done just a fantastic job. And Jack, you've been amazing casting last couple of seasons and this season, and Booth has produced so much and done so much for the community. Like, you can't hear his voice, I can, but you guys can't. But I'm telling you, Booth does so much for this community. It's not even funny. And he's getting married. Congratulations again, Booth, for that. There's just so much great stuff happening out there right now. And I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
So this is our seasonal request that if you happen to know any producers that are out there for season 8, please.
It's easy. We're reworking the process right now to make it a whole lot easier. It's a much easier job, but it's gonna be easier, but it's still a commitment, and Booth can't run it all. One day a week is really all we need, and we get 2 or 3 people like that. Boom! All you do is one day a week, and it's a great way to stay like in tune with the games that are going on, and watching the players and the teams, and knowing what you're talking about. So when you get on the Iris podcast, you don't just read off a list of team players and be like, yeah, that's what I know about that team.
Yep, pretty much.
Nobody would do that.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But we do also want to let you know that all of your favorite shows that we released this season are going to be coming back. So if you missed your chance to be on the Beat Drop, that's going to be returning in season 8. You'll also be seeing the return as well of the Iris podcast. I believe Predicting Tranquility is kind of in the air right now. I don't know if that's been locked in yet.
It may be revamped quite a bit, but a little bit more automated. And Coach's Corner, we hope to continue. We hope to continue that as well. So we will be reworking some of those shows. If you are interested in participating in those shows, we'll be here for that as well. And of course, we're going to continue the giveaways. Everybody's doing giveaway entries during tonight's broadcast and earning those channel points. And those will all be good the first week of the actual Tranquility season next season. So
6 weeks from now, when we come back.
Not even 6 weeks. It's that's 6 weeks to lock in. 6 weeks to we're actually going to play February, right? So more like 10 weeks, but But you can still earn
They'll
those.
still be
Earn those
valid. They'll
trank
still be
bucks.
there.
You got to earn those trank bucks. There's actually going to be another opportunity. Spoiler alert. There might be a Yule log. There might be one of those. So there might be an opportunity to sit back and watch those, get those trank bucks, and just sit by the fire with yours truly.
Yeah.
So,
We're always looking for ways to close the gap, you know, with Papa Jeff gone now. You know, we got to take
I'm just trying to bring you guys trank bucks. That's all.
Exactly.
So you can get sweet merch like this one. Exclamation mark store in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You get any team you want. Boom, on there. Cavaliers going to be putting up new teams next season. So if you want this season's teams, you got to get them now before those teams fold up and maybe they don't come back.
That's true. There's only so many spots that we can have available in the store, and there's more available than just shirts. I mean, there's jerseys, there's sweatshirts. You can get mugs, stickers. There's all sorts of stuff available on the store. So be sure to hit exclamation store in the chat, or go to shop.spreadshirt.com/OW Tranquility. Do I remember
That's
that
it.
correctly?
Shop.spreadshirt.com/OW Tranquility.
It's been a while, but I do want to give some shout outs to the amazing team here at Tranquility, not only in the now 2 years. Gosh, I can't. Season 4 is when I came in to start things off here. Only to the amazing admins and mods that run things going on here, but to our production team. You know, although the producer aspect has been a little rough, I mean, we have had so much new casting talent come in this season. It has filled my heart to be able to see so much amazing talent, you know, continue to learn and grow here and move on. I mean, I'm now one of those people, and it makes me a little sad sometimes that I don't get to come back here as often and cast and be with you all. But it is, you know, if you believe in the power of community and you love what we do here in Tranquility, be part of it, be an active part of it. There's always spots available, whether, you know, I'm sure that there are going to be openings for places on staff if you want to be a part of that coming up for the next season. You know, if you want to be part of the production team, all the information about that is going to be available in the server. So one last time, exclamation Discord in the chat if you want to join about that. And then, like NPC said earlier tonight, there may be some chances for like some 1-2 day tournaments that are going on, whether it be you know, Valorant, Rocket League, Halo, you know, just other opportunities for you to get involved with the community. They will be made available there in the Discord server. So one last time, NPC, for Booth, NPC, and myself, thank you so much for watching here at Overwatch Tranquility. Thank you for an amazing Season 7, and we will see you in Season 8.
See